Welcome everyone to another day of Blade&Soul Korea Finals. We are here in day 5 today of the last stage, heading to the semifinals. My name is Joseph, along with me is Ending Life, and we are at the final stage before we move right on to the semifinals next week. But how did you like the matches so far?
What do you mean, how did we didn't see any matches today? We are going to be seeing soon Group A, like you said, finals for Group A. So today is the last day for these 4 teams in Group A to, take over a seed, the 2 seats that, that are left over for the semifinals, and the other 2 get to go home.
I was initially asking you Ending about the matches that we had right before today.
Yeah, but they're irrelevant now.
But
today is a new day.
But I think today is one of the things that we have to point out is that we saw the challengers team try to face up against the championship teams, and the typical story ending was the champions team were not going to get the upset, and they were just going to crush the opposition of the challengers team, which actually we did see from last week. Yeah. But as you'll see in matches today and the standings that we will show to you very shortly, we're actually going to get some of the challengers teams facing off against each other in the championship. Also, they're going to be facing off against another championship too. Yeah. So it's going to be a little more competitive. Hopefully, that's what we're hoping for. But today, we're going to get the Group A action. We'll show you in the schedule once we get there soon. So today and tomorrow will be the last day of quarterfinals before we move on to the semifinals next week. And as you see in the standings right now, currently GC Busan Blue and No Names were the winners of Group A from last week. So they will be facing off against each other, whilst IDEPS and Full Swing will be at the losers bracket heading off against as well.
No, you got it mixed up, I think. You're looking at the
GC
last
Busan
week.
Blue, yeah, IDEPS.
So GC Busan Blue is the winner of last week versus No Name, and IDEPS is the winner versus Full Swing. So today, our first match will be GC Busan Blue versus IDEPS, best out of 7. From the start, from the get-go, we'll see the best out of 7, the winner's match from last week. So the winner of today, this is Group B right now, but let's talk about Group A because this is coming tomorrow right now on screen. So today we have GC Busan Blue versus IDES for the first match. This is the match of the winners. So winner of the first match is going to take over the first seed and just wait for the semifinals, whereas the loser, so whether it be GC Busan Blue or IDEPS, will have to wait to play another match later on against a challenger team who will win and come up, to fight for a second seed.
And the last match, as you say, will be the third match. As you can see in today's matchup, it will be the decider match between the winners, losers, and also the losers winner. So hopefully that will tell us the full story. But just one note is that losers match will be the big decider as to whether you can keep your tournament hopes alive, because the loser out of that match specifically will be completely out of the tournament. They will have no longer a chance to make it to the World Championship, hopefully. So that's kind of the thing that that's what we're trying to look at, because all these teams here, they're really just looking for a spot at the World Championship. Even if they are a challenger team, didn't have that much fighting points to go in with. We know that even without any fighting points from Season 1 and Season 2, they can still make it to World Championship if they make it to the first 2 seeds of this specific Korea Finals. But it's going to be very hard to do, and they're going to have to win a lot more matches to get there. And today will be a good position to start off on.
Yeah, it will be. But yeah, as you said, today is the last day. No more second chances, no more third chances. We've been giving all these teams, especially the challenger teams from the challenger stage, second chances. Today is going to be the third chance and the last chance. So if you lose, now it's over. There's no more chances. So I hope they prepared throughout the week to somehow get up there to beat a champion team, or even at least, get the second seed and secure their spot for the semifinals for another chance. Like now, they have to make their own chances. We don't give them second chances, free, second chances or third chances. They make their own path from now on. So if you lose, you're done. So, we'll have to see how the challenger teams are prepared.
And definitely for the challengers team, it's going to be very important for today, because they've gone against the championship teams. They obviously could not put out their fullest efforts trying to get the win, which is pretty understandable comparing the power level comparisons between the two teams. But now, the challenger teams, especially with today's game, they will actually have a chance against another challenger team, which they've actually faced from week 1. So they should be a lot more familiar with that system now. So hopefully these challenger teams are better prepared for, especially this week, when they have a realistic chance to get their hopes still maintaining in this tournament.
Yeah. But like you said, eventually they'll have to face the champion teams eventually. And today, yeah, like you said, they'll be versing, another challenger team that they faced a week or 2 weeks before. So the first match might be, a little bit easier for whichever team it may be.
Sure.
But after they win that, they'll have to go up against the loser of the challenge team, the champion team.
Yeah.
But it's still a champion team. It's just, they lost to a better champion team, so, they're back. But it's still a champion team, and the skill difference, I hope the gap has, lessened, that, the challenger teams may have a chance.
I think it's always a big question of whether we will get the surprises that we're looking for, because
Exactly.
always the underdogs with the challengers teams, it's a kind of a big hill that they have to climb over the championship team, because they've already very much proven themselves as the top of the tier. And these championship teams are just really, they're not really looking down on the challenger team. They're just trying to look up towards their actual goal of making it to the World Championship. And you see one of the teams right here is exactly looking to do that, GC Busan Blue. They have the most realistic chance right now to make it to the World Championship with the 2,040 fighting points that they have gathered throughout Season 1 and Season 2. There you see the roster with Daeyoung Choi on the Assassin. Most likely we're going to see him on that class along with Yoon Se-sun and Yoon Jae-jung. Will mostly doing the support role for him. And one of the big questions that I like to ask about GC Busan Blue is, what is their true power level? Because I think last week's indication did not give us a full answer as to exactly what their power level is, because going up against a challenger team, they're definitely an easier opposition, not much of a surprise that is expected out of that specific matchup.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because, the champion teams that's been waiting up here, the 4 champion teams, last week was their first, seeing on the tournament in a while. But they went up against challenger teams, which they defeated easily. So today is actually the first day where champion teams will verse another champion team. So, like you said, we'll be able to better calculate, the power of each team, especially the champion teams, how they are made of, rather than when they're facing a challenger team, which is fairly easier compared to versing another champion.
I think the biggest question we have towards this Korean Blade&Soul scene right now is about GC Busan Blue, really, because they will most likely be the representative of Korea going into World Championship. And just expecting how far these can go, we have to know their current power level, as we keep mentioning, because Season 1 GC Busan Blue was definitely different from Season 2 GC Busan Blue, as they have improved themselves over the season. And now teams are even saying that they have even improved even more beyond the Season 2 GC Busan Blue that we know. So if you're good enough to win the championship in Korea from Season 1, Season 2 consecutively, and even get better from that, we just don't know exactly how this is going to turn out. But obviously the fans don't think exactly the same way too either, because we got a lot of fan votes going towards IDEPS, 82% compared to the 18% percentile for GC Busan Blue.
Unexpected from what GC Busan Blue has been performing the last 2 seasons, as you just said. They are the two-time champions back-to-back of Season 1 and 2. And they still get the lesser vote.
They do, and
that's very surprising.
And it is, because IDEPS, we've seen good performances by these guys, especially from Jung Hoon, who's always been great on that Force Master. But the biggest problem with IDEPS, I've always noticed, is Sang-woo Kim, and he has been the sort of the least consistent player. He's been great when he's great, but when he's been bad, he's been as bad as any player we know. And we're actually going to get the first game actually starting right away, but the graphics are thanks to OGN making this work out. Actually liking this, and Yoon Jae-jung on the Warlock will be the first one up for GC Busan Blue against Sang-woo Kim, as we keep talking about him. And this is the big question as to, how well prepared is IDEPS and how well prepared is Sang-woo Kim for this specific matchup, because this will be an important match for IDEPS specifically. If you can get a good competition against the best team that we currently know them as GC Busan Blue. If you can do that, that's actually going to be a big power boost towards these IDEPS side, and this first match will be a good indicator of that.
Exactly. It'll be the deciding factor for Sang-woo Kim's mentality to see if he's ready for this offline tournament. All right, it sounds like we are ready to get into the first set. Let's get it on.
We're We're wasting no time as we get into the first match of day 5, and it's an exciting one to begin us off as we see GC Busan Blue appearing at the first singles with Yoon Jae-jung on the Warlock. This is going to be the big question against Sang-won Kim, who has always been a question mark as to what his true power level is and what his true full potential might be. But hopefully we get a good answer today, at least part of the answer, as Sang-won Kim already forces out the escape from Yoon Jae-jung already from the beginning of the game. So
I hope we get to see Sang-won Kim's true performance, but it looks like it's not going his way.
Yeah, so the early game is not going towards Sang-won Kim's way as he takes a 60% approximate damage right from Yoon Jae-jung, and Yoon Jae-jung already used the time distortion to get his escape back. So he's at extreme advantage for at least the next 20 seconds or so, where Sang-won Kim will be out of that escape. And it's going to be important for the assassin to make his mobility to his fullest. Try to spend some time and buy his time to get that cooldown right back.
Yeah, they are kind of stalling for their cooldowns to come back, especially Sang-won Kim, as you mentioned, where he gets the leaf back, Lotus of Escape.
Yep.
Puts it down, goes aggressive, kind of. Yeah, there we go, Shadow Slash landing with the bad breath.
So Sang-won Kim does heal some of the health back. The flower as you see on the screen is still there for him to use if he has to use that for the escape. So actually the landmine connecting pretty well from Sang-won Kim, but Yoon Jae-jung not taking a lot of damage from this particular match. He's taken the stun up. It's going to be good enough to get him out though. But Sang-won Kim, he's going to have to look out for a lot more than this to make this work out. Yoon Jae-jung doing a good job defensively and offensively putting in the right trade of damage between Sang-won Kim.
Yeah, Sang-won Kim, it was worth 2 escapes for Sang-won Kim to just take out 1 secondary escape for Yoon Jae-jung. This is not the way you want to play an assassin.
Oh, but the assassin gets a stun up, and he's finally using the tab escape now to get him out. So he takes about 30% damage before he does use that tab escape. So not the best of trades for Sang-won Kim. I'm sure he wanted a lot more than it, but this might be his chance now to get in that additional stun. We know that the assassin can do a lot of damage following that stun.
Exactly, and Yoon Jae-jung still has like around 15, 16 seconds left until his escape. He does not want to get CC'd by an assassin. We know what happens, and he does get CC'd, but the time distortion is down.
Yeah, and he's get the tab escape. If he gets down back to the ground, he'll be able to use it. He gets the poison breath down, so he keeps his escape for now, and is going to be prone to another stun, and will be having that additional escape once that comes through.
Alright, the Sanctum is put down. Sang-won Kim and Yoon Jae-jung both saving their tab escapes where they're trading CCs back and forth. Nothing too much is going to be happening. There's only 20 seconds left on the clock.
So I think Yoon Jae-jung is feeling pretty good about the situation because he knows that Sang-won Kim did heal some of that health back to his favor. So this might be bad though because he takes the stun and takes a little bit of damage, and where he has to use a tab escape to get out. But Yoon Jae-jung, he has to be a lot more careful now. This is the Warlock damage onto it. Will he be able to finish it? And he does finish it up in time before the TKO marker does indicate for us. But Yoon Jae-jung doing good in the early game and finishing us off with that same series of damage near the end of the game to finish it off.
Yeah, Sang-won Kim definitely saw that clock. He got hasty.
He got anxious, yeah.
He ran in there and got shackled to death. And there was only probably 1.2 seconds, if I remember correctly. There was literally 1.2 seconds, or maybe not even. And, as a Warlock, you only need 1 second to get rid of like 30% health.
It literally is, and the Warlock with the Yoon Jae-jung, he's been showing, like you see right there, he puts in a lot of damage in the early parts of the game, about 60%. Then, before he puts that finishing touch in the end of the game, actually, Sang-won Kim did a really good job of trading back damage, which I thought was almost pretty even. At least close to even if it did go to the TKO without that last series of damage. So I think Sang-won Kim was feeling a little bit anxious as to whether his damage was close enough if it was close to the TKO.
Yeah, and especially because I have to say that Sang-won Kim, well, they both knew that they were both out of tab escapes. They knew that each other's escapes were out. So Sang-won Kim, being an assassin, wanted to land the CC, and having that 4 to 5 seconds, he rushed in there to try to finish off Yoon Jae-jung or do as much damage, because as an assassin, even if it goes down to a TKO, even if you don't kill him, he'll be able to win within like 2 to 3 seconds, but it backfired on him, and Yoon Jae-jung was actually able to finish him off.
Yeah, and definitely the mindset between the two players trying to finish him up before the timer did run out, but Yoon Jae-jung was the successor of that series of plays, but we're going to actually get onto game 2, where Yuntaeson on the Assassin this time is actually going to go up against the IDEP side. So this is going to be an interesting game 2.
Yeah, and if you remember Sang-Ho Kim's fish dagger, maybe that was the fault, because nowadays, last year and last season, a lot of Assassins and Destroyers brought out their fish dagger and fish axes, but now they've been, changing it up a little bit, and Sang-Ho Kim's staying with the fish dagger. I don't know, maybe that's the problem.
The fish meta is definitely over.
Yeah, the fish meta is over.
And a lot of people a lot of players should realize that as we move on to the game 2, whether the fish will come back to its style, we're going to have to find out in our game 2 between GC Busan Blue and IDEP. So we'll get the match going right underway. Let's get it on. And I think we did have to emphasize the fact that Yuntaeson's Assassin is the 7th register class for him. So bottom priority for him, but he does go with that with his singles right now. So it's up against Jung Won-yoon. It's up against Jung Won-yoon.
Oh, that's not. No, it's Duggan Kang.
Yeah, it's definitely Duggan Kang.
OGN, come on.
So we will hopefully get that fix on the image soon, but it is Duggan Kang on the usual KFM. Your favorites to go with that, but it's not doing a good job so far, as Yuntaeson's Assassin doing work on that Jung Won-yoon early, but he actually gets the stun and gets the flower to go back with the body swap, and Jung Won-yoon has to look for more damage now.
Not
he does
Jung Won-yoon, Duggan Kang.
Duggan Kang. Keep tilting me, OGN, with the damage, but that's going to be a lot of damage going on to Yuntaeson on the Assassin.
He's done. 5 more seconds, he's done. 10.
My goodness.
Aerial, there we go.
Like another aerial, and that might be good enough to finish him off. They finish him off with the knockdown, and that's going to be good enough.
If that was Jung Won-yoon on that KFM and he performed like that, I would be like, he is a god.
Oh my gosh.
Like, he plays so well with the Force Master, and now he's moved on to the KFM. It's over. But it was Duggan Kang.
Yes.
There was a mistake on the name, but it's understandable. We knew it was Duggan Kang, and Duggan Kang is one of the top KFM players, other than Suwon Kim on GFAM. So, you have to remember, IDEPS is made up of strong players as well.
And it is very true. It's always been the question with IDEPS is whether they can get these really strong players that they have in their talents, or whether they can really formulate together and form a synergy that really turns out to be a victorious team, but it just never has been seen to be that case, where they've never been the top team in Korea. And they've always been in that middle of the pack, but we always expected more for these guys. So obviously in the singles, they're showing a good performance with Game 2, Duggan Kang doing finally a good job of really just knocking him out straight on. So Yuntaeson on the Assassin didn't work out this time around, so 7th priority on that champion, that class might not have been the best choice to go with on the second match.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't have the fish, so I thought he had some hope, because he had an actual dagger, so it might have hurt. But he didn't get to make a move on Duggan Kang at all. He just, Duggan Kang constantly back-to-back CCs, forcing Yuntaeson to use his escapes, his leaf, and his stealth. And then, the next CC that comes up from KFM, a 2RF combo, 3RF combo, whatever you want to call it, is, you're gonna die if you don't have any escapes. It's like similar to an Assassin, but it takes it's longer time, more patience, and Duggan Kang definitely had that patience going for him.
And definitely with that end of game 2, IDEPS brought this right back to even now. We're going to move on to game 3, which will be the first tag of this best of 7, and GC Busan Blue, they're going to be looking out for a lot more than what they're having right now. They're trying to get a dominating win, and that can really be a statement maker towards the entire Blade&Soul scene. And GC Busan Blue, not having shown the most of what they're capable of so far, they're going to have to show a lot more if they're going to really place themselves on the top of the ladder.
Yeah, and as I just want to remind you guys that the first, even though this is the first match, it is best out of 7, and each team has taken a point apiece, and it's the first team to get 6 points or more. So right now it's just 1-1. We still have time. Both teams should, keep their cool and try to win out this tag, which is worth 2 points.
And definitely the tag points always are really the crucial ones, as you can what the statements will be made from a team, and really GC Busan Blue want to make all the statement in the world, and they're just going to have to use this GC Busan Blue side. Their strength that they always had was the tag matches, and their tag performances have been stellar up to far. So, you know, against IDEPS, who have been relatively weak on the tag matches. So that's kind of the key point that we have to watch out for. But Game 3 will be coming right your way. It will be the first tag match of this series between GC Busan Blue and IDEPS, and we'll get the match starting very, very soon. So let's get the match underway. Let's get it on. Here we go for Game 3, the first tag match between GC Busan Blue and IDEPS, and we're going to have Daeyoung Choi on the usual assassin versus Sang Kim on the assassin, so it's going to be assassin mirror match to start us off.
Yep. Okay, Ice Mine for Daeyoung Choi, at least we know now. Daeyoung Choi is going to try to chase this, obviously going to work. But it has been patched. If you guys... There is a program in Korean, unfortunately not in English, where you know they explain about the patch. They talk about, you know, the updates or the new quote-unquote metas. And one of the assassins actually mentioned that the ice mine, the timer for the chase has changed slightly. And you know, maybe that could make a difference, or maybe that is why many of the assassins stopped using the ice mine.
Yeah.
But, you know, today, right now, this time around, Daeyoung Choi is on the ice mine and going with the ice mine. Let's see how this works out.
So perhaps Daeyoung Choi had a lot more practice on the ice mine, looking for that new timing difference that a lot of players obviously does not seem to be getting used to. So onto the waiting now. So Daeyoung Choi has to look for more damage, and he gets this escape out once again from Sang Kim. So Sang Kim in a dangerous situation where one more stun will get him a lot of damage dealt his way. So Daeyoung Choi also being used to use the escape from Sang Kim, so both assassins right now are out of their escape. So one crucial stun on either side could make all the difference.
Wow, did you just see that? Daeyoung Choi sees Sang Kim, and instead of trying to chase or predict what he's going to do, he did predict that he was going to leaf out, and he moved towards the leaf at the same time as Sang Kim leafed out. That was cool.
Definitely a good prediction play, but now we see Sang Kim is going to be back on the cooldown with the escape is back, and Daeyoung Choi is going to get his right after a second as we speak. So, but 1 second is what they have left. They're going to be force tagged out, and no chase is probably going to be happening within that distance. But Jung Jae-jung on the Warlock is going to be the second one out, whereas Jung Woo-yoon, first time we see this guy, is going to be out for IDEPS as well.
Yep, Jung Woo-yoon versus Yoon Jae-jung, the Warlock versus Force Master. This is gonna be good to see. Usually Jung Woo-yoon is the player with a little bit more experience on his character. Whereas, you know, Yoon Jae-jung has swapped from a summoner.
But the
offensive interfere.
Yeah, offensive interfere, killing off much of the HP from the familiar. So he's not gonna be able to rely on that as much as he wants to. So Jung Woo-yoon doing a good job with the interfere. Familiar does go back down onto the ground with the cooldown being run out. So nothing really happening regarding damage onto both sides right now, but Daeyoung Choi is coming back out on the assassin. He's going to be looking to make a play that he wasn't able to make in the first time he was able to come out in this tag match, but already having to use the tag along with Jung Woo-yoon as well. He's going to be out of the escape for the next 20 seconds for both sides.
Yeah, it was a good trade for both of them. Their tab escapes trading nearly at the same time, but now Jung Woo-yoon has to use his backstep escape. Same thing with Daeyoung Choi, uses the leaf. So they're basically trading off. This is actually ideal for a singles match, but you know, in tag right now, it's also a fun scene to watch where they're trading off and then a defensive reactionary 2v2 happens. But right now, it's just, you know, they're both stealthing.
And for how even it is, we have to mention that IDEPS is at a slight advantage regarding tag points they have available. Jung Woo-yoon will probably get his free tag already in the next 3 seconds. Well, they can count that, make the chase happen, but he's putting a little bit of distance, which doesn't, which evades Daeyoung Choi from going for that chase, but actually goes up into the air. Dougie Kang, as soon as he comes in, uses defense to interfere, but not too much effect. So Daeyoung Choi trying to get that damage onto him, but actually taking the damage himself from Sang Kim as well. Assassin mirror match happening again, but Sang Kim already taking the tab escape against his favor. So Daeyoung Choi has to look for more chances now with the 24 seconds he has to spare.
Yeah, and Daeyoung Choi, if you notice, he tried to knock him down with that small slash that has this small range.
Yeah.
When Sang Kim was stealth, it was, you know, it was unfortunate, but that CC lands, forcing Sang Kim. He's out of both escapes for the next 10 seconds, 9, 8 seconds.
Oh, this is going to be a good
make it
chance
move.
for Sean. Now the interfere coming in from IDEPS is going to be good to negate much of that damage that he could have put out, but Yuntaeson now for the Blade Dancer is out for GC Busan Blue. It's going to be a good chance for interfere coming in from both sides, trying to put in that damage, but actually IDEPS is taking the lesser of that trade. So Yuntaeson with his teammate doing a good job of putting out that damage.
And if you guys notice, these are two champion stage teams, and their tag and interfere points are being managed so well.
Very good, and then another damage coming out to IDEPS as well. So Duggan Kang taking a lot of damage. It's going to be a dangerous situation that he has to stall out for somehow 1 minute and 30 seconds. But Duggan Kang is not going to be. That's not what he was looking for specifically once he did come out.
Yeah, and Duggan Kang, if you noticed, he is on the Blade Dancer.
He is.
He's, you know, a KFM main, but he could also play the Blade Dancer. There we go. Puts him into the aerial. Puts him down. Ooh, it's another style. Okay.
So Duggan Kang showing who's the better Blade Dancer this time around, putting a lot of damage onto Yuntaeson, but the Warlock coming in from that damage onto that chain. It's going to be good damage coming into that side, but Duggan Kang is trying to look pretty good on the Blade Dancer regardless of how many times he's seen this guy play it, but doing a good job so far. Definitely a team-composed pick, if you will, of that specific class.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And, you know, that power drive down into the CC, into a re-knockup, that was something that we usually don't see.
Oh, the ultimate!
ult.
I guess slight little bit of damage, just barely noticeable amount of damage onto Yuntaeson, but Yuntaeson on that Blade Dancer trying to do work. He's trying to stall out as much time. The lightning draw does put in a little bit of damage. Yuntaeson putting that lightning draw himself as well, but Yuntaeson is going to be looking for that 5 seconds that he has to stall out to get that free tag in for GC Busan Blue. Saving as much tag points as you can will be crucial. Chase probably going to be happening.
Did land, and the stealth was used right away by Daeyoung Choi.
Jonghyun uses that ultimate to freeze the entire arena, but nothing comes from it so far. He does heal some of that health back. So Daeyoung Choi back out on the field for GC Busan Blue on that assassin, as we all usually know him to be.
He just tried to frost burst up in the air, but Daeyoung Choi knocked him down at the same time.
Oh, but actually the interfere coming in, the defensive interfere coming in slightly late. Trying to negate, I'm sure, more damage than what they expected there.
Yep. Jung Ho-yoon, of course, as the Force Master, as Jung Ho-yoon, he has so much health right now. Same thing with Duggan Kang. Seong Kim is the only player on IDEPS that has such low health, and he should be the one doing the damage, but he can't come out with that little amount of health.
And Daeyoung Choi, he does have to be careful because he's up against Jung Ho-yoon, who is specifically very good against the assassins. That opposition has never truly proven to be anything of a justice against Jung Ho-yoon's Force Master. So Daeyoung Choi, he knowing that fact, he has to be a little bit careful.
Yep, and at the 3-minute mark, everybody got another extra interfere point, if you guys noticed.
Yep.
Let's see how they will manage to use those points.
And perhaps a good tag point being used by GC Busan Blue to bring out that little bit of a mismatch onto a little bit of their favor, bringing out the Blade Dancer Yuntaeson onto the field, and Jung Ho-yoon doing a very good job doing everything he's supposed to do while the time he's out in the field, and 3 seconds is all he has to put out as much as additional damage as he could. He's gonna get that free tag out.
Yep, if you notice, these teams, they are managing their points
really
so
well.
There's 2 minutes left, so 8 minutes have passed, and ult again won't be connecting. But, you know, as I was saying, they are managing their points so well. It's been 8 minutes, and they still all have their tag points and interfere points. Duggan Kang finally used his final tag point.
And Duggan Kang, after missing that ultimate, he does tag out right away. Back out to Jung Ho-yoon, who has been the most trustworthy teammate for IDEPS, who's doing everything right in his time that he is out. So trying to make that work once again against GC Busan Blue. No KO happening straight away yet. So this is going to be the Warlock Chains going up to Jung Ho-yoon. Not much damage coming from it though.
Yeah, he did get him into the first area, but was unable to continue.
Yeah.
And the Ice Burst, the Frost Burst does not connect to the blade.
Bringing the familiar back out, but Jung taking a lot of damage from Jung Ho-yoon already. And it's going to be a chance for him to do it, but another chain coming up, but not too much damage as well. So Jung probably wanting a lot more out of these trades, but really he's taking a lot of damage himself, using the time distortion now to get his cooldown back. But he's kind of looking for a lot more than the Sound Kim on this limits of HP is coming back out. So this might be a chance for GC Busan Blue to put in a good amount of interference and maybe put enough damage to knock the first man out.
Yeah, and I love how these teams, you know, when they tag out, even though it's not a force tag, they are able to land that CC, forcing the opponent.
The ultimate did not connect this time around, but we'll tag out from Duggan Kang. So Blade Dancer on that turn is coming back out. Now Daeyoung Choi on the semester HP is going to be back out for GC Busan Blue. So like we said, for the other side of GC Busan Blue, this is IDEP's chance now to put in a lot of damage, hopefully knock the first man out of this tag match. But I should say the actions are very smart, if you will, going towards both sides, being very defensive when they need to, and saving their manpower as much as they can.
Yeah, well, if you notice, they have more than enough interfere points to go back and forth. However, right now Duggan Kang is out of tag points, so he has to wait.
This lightning draw into the damage, and that is a lot of damage going on to the other Blade Dancer. This is going to be a good chance for them now. They're using the webbing onto their favor, but Duggan Kang doing a very good job, and that's going to be the first man out on this tag match. And Yuntason on full health is going to be back out for GC Busan.
3 seconds left, and you know they have
to do the crucial one, but actually going to be the damage near the end of the game, and that might be the game. That might be the game changer, because we are going to the damage chart, and that last bit of damage knocking a man off instantly. That might have came off for interfere. And like we said, that changed it up totally. That was a very small margin of difference.
Wow.
And everything just happened within that 3 seconds of the last series.
Yeah, 160,000 damage on each side where it was even, and then at the end, like you mentioned, before that happened at the end, GC Busan Blue knocking out a player from IDEPS, that probably, would have given them the win at the TKO.
Definitely, yes.
But when there was like 3-4 seconds left, IDEPS came right back at them, knocking a player down that had more than 50% HP, which probably obviously gave IDEPS the damage charts at the end.
I mean, we know how this tag match, this one turned out to be, but if you've just been watching us for this last 5 seconds of it, you probably thought there was a lot of action happening, but it was very smart plays going from both sides. So a lot of congratulations going to both teams, because it's been a very high quality form of tag match that we barely was able to see throughout this tournament, but very good showing here. This is where the lightning draw happens. A lot of damage and eventually knocking him off with that interfere coming in.
Alright, so right now with that webbing, they finish him off. Yes, Duggan Kang is finished off. However, here Daeyoung, there we go, Yuntason comes in. And he's like, we probably won. And then look at that
So
Sang-Ho Kim makes that mark.
Very true.
At the end. We were always bashing on him for him to improve because we know how good he is. And finally at the end, he was able to land that ult by the assassin.
And when you play that well for both sides, really being even, not really knowing which side to go for in terms of damage, when you make that crucial play near the end, that really does make all the difference. And that 3 seconds that you mentioned, I really did win out the game for IDEPS. So now IDEPS, surprisingly, is the one team that is above GC Busan Blue 3-1 right now.
Yeah, that was amazing. And we are back to 2 more singles. So set 4 and set 5. We'll be back to singles, which is worth 1 point each. And right now, IDEPS is up 3 to GC Busan Blue 1 point. And Daeyoung Choi is finally coming out against Jung Ho-yoon, the assassin killer on the Force Master. We'll have to see what happens.
And to be fair, we do have to mention that Daeyoung Choi is the player that we have the most expectations for. But from this tag match that we saw in Game 3, he did not show nearly as much as we expected from him, because we expected a lot of damage charts. We expected a lot of crucial plays that make all the difference for IDEPS to be nervous about, but none of that really showed in Game 3 specifically, so he's going to have to make his mark on Game 4, the next singles coming up.
Yeah, and as we always mention repeatedly, that Daeyoung Choi is probably one of the top players currently, performing the best out of all the players most recently.
But we're gonna actually get onto Game 4, the second series of singles will begin between GC Busan Blue and IDEPS. It's gonna be between Daeyoung Choi on the assassin and Jung Ho-yoon on the killer. Force Master, let's get the match underway. We begin the Game 4 between GC Busan Blue and IDEPS, and we have Daeyoung Choi on the assassin, as famously as we know. But the more famous part of the story is that Jung Ho-yoon on the Force Master always likes to kill assassins.
Oh yeah, even back in the day where, if you guys remember, Jin-Yu Park was one of the top assassins, probably still is. Unfortunately, not participating in this tournament, Jung Ho-yoon was able to play around with even Jin-Yu Park. So we'll have to see how he plays against Daeyoung Choi. And
actually, talk about Jung Ho-yoon's performance. He's already got that tag.
The wall bang.
The wall bang is already happening. The frost burst is gonna be happening for Jung Ho-yoon, but that first series of play, if you like to just replay exactly what happened, he got the tag out already. They're using the meteor already, putting a lot of damage. There's nothing David Choi can do.
GG.
100-0. Taking no damage in train. The assassin killer is back on the action, guys, because that just gave one more point over to Idas, and GC Busan Blue, they might be the loser out of this series.
Yeah, and we see Daeyoung Choi's face and Jung Yoon's face. But right now, in this live stage, Daeyoung Choi is actually across from me on the other side of the booth, so I can see him. And he is, you know, out of, like, he's just, what the hell, what just happened kind of face.
It literally is, because we knew that Jung Yoon can kill assassins.
Yeah.
He's very good at that, but it's Daeyoung Choi. It's one of the best assassins in today's Blade&Soul. So that's the expectation that we had, and continue on for this tag match. Daeyoung Choi, there wasn't much for him to show.
No.
And that's the confusion that we're getting, because we know that the players are really complimenting this player of how good he is and how much of a hard worker he is and in his work ethics. But if it doesn't show in these offline tournaments, that really does go into the dust.
God. It sucks for Daeyoung Choi. He was forced to use his stealth right away off the bat, getting CC'd at the start of the match, which, you know, led into what just happened. He wasn't even able to put down his Lotus of Escape. He had his leaf, he just couldn't put it down.
I think literally for 90% of that game, Daeyoung Choi was either stunned or in some form of CC. That he just didn't have much time to make any sort of moves. If he thought about making the escape moves early, maybe he could have done that, but probably didn't expect that coming, that he wouldn't have any time to make any kind of plays.
Yeah, especially when you're, you know, walled up like that and you're getting frozen, getting pushed back to the wall. Daeyoung Choi is coming back out, and Jung Yoon is coming back!
Oh, the rematch happening right back. It's a challenge going directly towards Jung Yoon. Daeyoung Choi is looking for the biggest of revenges, because if they lose out on this one, it's gonna be literally 5-1. It's gonna be almost a game clincher for Idas. So GC Busan Blue, all of the singles that they have been facing, this might be one of the most important singles that they have in this tournament.
Yep, this is a revenge, and challenge was accepted by Jung Yoon. I'm pretty sure. You guys have to know, they are able to chat within, you know, their games. So maybe Daeyoung Choi was like, hey, Jung-Oh, let's do a rematch. And, you know, that could be the possibility. I'm not saying, you know, they've talked it out. It could be a coincidence.
Sure.
But I love it.
And Jung Yoon with that go-go as his answer to that challenge will be the rematch between GC Busan Blue and Idas, as Daeyoung Choi has a second feat against Jung Yoon on the Force Master, but we will get the next singles going right underway. Let's get it on. You know, personally, Andy, I really love seeing this when you get a direct revenge matchup right after the singles is over. And Daeyoung Choi, if he wins out this one, he's going to feel all the redemption in the world. But if he loses again, it's going to feel twice as worse.
All right, this time around, Jung Yoon is using his backstep escape first. But he still has his tab escape and many freezes.
Definitely Daeyoung Choi figured out the strategy that he has to go out for the action immediately as soon as he starts the game, and it's exactly what he's doing, getting a good trade of damage, much better compared to the first time they faced off against each other.
Oh, what? Okay. I don't know, maybe Jung Yoon planned it. The re-knockup didn't happen, and the fire is dying out at this.
That's frees himself up, but Daeyoung Choi is looking a lot better than he did the first time he faced him. So Jung Yoon without the escape for the next 12 seconds is going to be Daeyoung Choi's chance to make it happen. But when you freeze yourself like that and get yourself into the air, it's really tough to do that from Daeyoung Choi's side.
Oh, aerial.
The landmine is happening to knocking him down. Whether he can get a crucial stun in is going to be the question, but he does already have the body stop is happening. He's going to get the stun in, but he does have a lot of bombard. It's going to be happening, but he still has the tab escape to work with, so Jung Yoon's not in the complete amounts of danger. So Jung Yoon knows the situation.
Not good. Don't show your back.
The meteor happening again, putting a little bit of damage onto Daeyoung Choi. So Jung Yoon trying to get the repeat performance, get another win for his side.
Alright, Jung Yoon is out of escapes. Now he has to use his Frost Armor very wisely. You don't want to waste it. Daeyoung Choi still has his stuff left.
Definitely, this might be the best chance for Daeyoung Choi to get that finishing touch onto him, because he gets the stun now, beginning the bombard. Trying to start off his combo now. The landmine is going to be popping in. He's going to be trying to get that finishing touch onto him. He does use the Frost Burst. Yeah. just in time to freeze himself out and buy crucial time that he can get the tab escape right back on his favor.
Now it's Jung Ho-yoon's turn to do
It is, and he gets him onto the
this
aerial.
is what I expected. The first aerial from Jung Ho-yoon, the double knockup, but it didn't happen. And look at all the damage being put into Dae-Choi.
It just seems so overpowered when Jung Ho-yoon plays that Force Master. We've seen other players play, but it just never turned out to be the same effect. And the Bombard coming up, trying to put that challenge onto him. Getting actually pretty good damage onto him now. The second Bombard is going to come his way, and that's going to be good enough to finish him off. And that's actually good enough to finish off. And Dae-Choi getting his revenge right towards his favor.
Yeah, that was very close. Jung Ho-yoon was definitely saving his tab escape for that second close shave.
Surprised.
Yeah, but you know, that crazy burst damage from Dae-Choi plus the bombard, you know, maybe he miscalculated the damage.
Definitely, yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, you know, you could make a mistake. You're not a robot, even though we were calling Jung Ho-yoon the AI, the AlphaGo of Blade&Soul. However, you know, it could be Jung Ho-yoon could be a little broken.
But as you can see, Dae-Choi on that screen looking very relieved that he finally got the win over Jung Ho-yoon, which is exactly what he wanted. But I think that all the credits do go to that early game where Dae-Choi was very much aggressive.
To here.
Yeah, this is what you're talking about.
Okay,
with
this is actually
the second
on.
knockup.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the beginning of the game.
Beginning.
Yeah,
the same thing happened where Jung Ho-yoon wasn't able to do a re-knockup. Maybe he made a mistake.
And maybe if he had gotten that off, there might be enough damage to finish off Dae-Choi a lot early before all this happened. Ooh. So Jung Ho-yoon, obviously a little mistake does go a long way, and he's actually shown that with Dae-Choi this time getting the win for GC Busan Blue, getting that one more point onto them. So it's going to be 2 points right now for GC Busan Blue.
Yeah, very well played. They did bring up another point, so now we are into our tag matches. The last 2 tag matches.
It will be happening.
Yep, and you know, GC Busan Blue wants to win it out. They have to win out all the tags because it's 4-2 right now. And as I mentioned, this is best out of 7. First team to reach 6 points.
Yes.
And if you know IDEPS wins one match, one tag, they're done. GC Busan Blue is done.
It is really hard to predict what the matchup was going to be like. We kind of expected GC Busan Blue to be the heavy favorites, even over Team IDEPS, but we always see Team IDEPS has been really preparing against the GC Busan Blue side because they already knew their opposition in their preparation for this match. But it's going to be the next tag match. As you say, if IDEPS does win out on this tag match, it's going to be the end of the series. It's going to be a win going towards IDEPS, but GC Busan Blue wants to keep it to the 7-game series and hopefully get their chance to regain their win that they probably hopefully deserve at the end of the season.
What? Yeah, but anyways, we are getting ready for potentially the last match. If IDEPS wins, they get 6 points, which will give them the victory, right? But if GC Busan Blue wins, they have to win another one to get the victory, so they have to win back-to-back tags. So we'll have to see if IDEPS will win one game or GC Busan Blue will win both games to go up to the next match. Let's get it on!
Here we go for the Game 6, the second tag match of the series between GC Busan Blue and IDEPS. We have Dae-Choi, the first one up. He's making a lot of appearances in the recent games. This is coming against Jung Ho-yoon again. So retaliation going both ways now. The Meteor happening straight away. Jung Ho-yoon putting a lot of damage, but it's going to be a Meteor onto himself. So obviously not much damage going towards that way. You don't get damage coming towards yourself. So Dae-Choi particularly well using that first interfere now, using that bombard onto the chains. It's going to be the time interfere coming in from that Warlock, so giving that Dae-Choi right back his escape.
Yep, exactly. The time distortion is giving back Dae-Choi the confidence because he got his escapes back. But Jung Ho-yoon, being the Force Master, there we go, the freeze. He has more than enough resources to live, even though he is out of his tab escape.
Definitely Dae-Choi doing a very good job, especially coming from that interfere, trying to negate that damage, but not too much good effect because Jung Ho-yoon takes a lot of damage from that bombard onto that combo. So Choi doing a good job right now. The Meteor coming in this time again. Not much happening.
Alright, Jung Ho-yoon is in the air. Oh, okay, he dodged that. Landmine.
Oh, another bombard coming in.
Trading that tab escape.
True, and getting the both stun and the jump part coming to great effect. Maybe that'd be the answer towards Jung Ho-yoon's side, but Jung Ho-yoon finally having it to use the tag point early, and Sang Kim is on the assassin coming back out. Actually, GC Busan Blue also uses their tag points early and brings out Yoon Jae-jung on the Warlock for him.
Yep, Yoon Jae-jung versus Sang Kim. Let's see if Sang Kim is able to pull off his wait. Instead of waiting till the end like he did last time in the third match where he lands that ult, giving IDEPS the victory in the first tag match. Let's see if he's able to play well right now on the field when he's not pressured.
So you see Sang Kim playing a little bit passively because he doesn't have that escape available, but putting a little bit of damage onto Yoon Jae-jung before he does that, forcing his tab escape to run out, but uses that time distortion to get it right back to his favor. So Yoon Jae-jung on the Warlock has to make some kind of damage happen. Sang Kim will get his escape back right back now, as in 1 second.
Yep, and he does put down the flower, so he has had that Lotus of escape the whole time. And if they both have their escapes, it's gonna be alright. The body swap happens for Yoon Jae-jung right now. 1 minute cooldown.
Ooh, an aggressive turn in from Sang Kim, putting in that damage and coming right back in for additional damage as well. So Sang Kim doing a good job of exactly what he's supposed to do. Another attack, almost knocking him out. Yeah, almost knocking him out before he is tagged out. Onto the choice, a good play by GC Blue to get that off in time.
Yeah, Yoon Jae-jung, I'm glad that he was able to tag out, because if he were to die with 2 tag points and 2 interferes, I would have, his team would have bashed on him.
And definitely, we know that Warlock is such a team contributor with that time distortion and all the sanctum that you can use off the interfere. Even with the offensive one as well, you can put in a lot of damage if you can get the right CC in. So not having that Warlock as an interfere option is a crucial thing for them. So keeping that man alive was an important thing, but a lightning draw coming in from the side of IDEPS, and that's going to be a lot of damage going on to Daeon Choi on the assassin pretty early.
Yep, Daeon Choi spec'd into the blue buff probably. If you notice, he does not have his Lotus of Escape, and he does put him into the aerial.
Gets into the good effect, the defensive interfere coming in for Jung Ho-yoon. Trying to save his teammate. The webbing onto the additional damage does not happen because of actually taking a lot of damage.
He knocks him out of stuff.
The last second of the interfere from Jung Ho-yoon. So Jung Ho-yoon doing everything right. Whether it's the interfere or he's actually out on the field. So there's the interfere coming in, putting the sanctum down.
Daeon Choi is still there, 25 seconds left until the force tag.
Yoon Kang is trying to look for the damage. The lightning draw does happen, but not much damage coming from it. But does force out the tab escape from Daeon Choi.
Oh, he ulted.
The ulti didn't happen this time around, so not too much of a distance that he had to cover, but it's going to be his chance. And now, with that blue buff, he's going to put a lot of damage in. The defensive interfere coming in from Sang Kim on the assassin. The poison breath trying to negate him to go aggressively against his teammates. So Daeon Choi, 1 more second before he's tagged out. Perhaps IDEPS going to be looking for the chase. Nothing happening from it.
Yep, no chases. That was very well played on Daeon Choi's side. He did have that 1 tag point, and there was a moment where he probably was tempted to use a tag point, but he was able to endure it.
But the interfere comes in, but it actually gets him straight up into the air. The time distortion does happen from the Warlock, giving the cooldowns right back. So Itasan doing a pretty good job of getting into the air despite the defensive interfere trying to gate that.
Yep, and Sang Kim is back out on the field. He's the only one who has 2 tag points, which means he lasted a force tag before. Same thing with Yoon Tae-sun, 2 tag points. So, they could fight it out, and they could tag out when they feel, they're in danger. So, they'll still have a tag point left. And if you notice, most of the players have their interfere points other than Yoon Jae-jung, who had to come in many times for the time distortion usage for his teammates.
And definitely we see the reminiscent of this tag match against the last tag match that we saw from these 2 teams. They're playing very smart, trying to be defensive when they need to be, trying to prevent a man going out very early, which can be a crucial snowball effect going towards a specific side. But just on, and Sang Kim now on the assassin has to look for something else. So Yoon Jae-jung does come back out on the Warlock, finally getting much of that health back that he lost in the early game. He's back out with approximately 60% health now.
Yep, and Yoon Tae-sun, as I mentioned before, tags out and still has that 1 tag point, that Shadow Slash connects.
And the familiar does come out for Yoon Jae-jung, so you have to look for his favor. It does get him into the air. The familiar will continue to attack him, and Sang Kim taking a little bit of damage from that series of attacks.
Yeah, but the defensive interfere from Jung Ho-yoon comes in, forces Yoon Jae-jung to back off.
Oh, this
Not
might be the
finishing,
Assassin's
yeah.
chance now. The Silent King trying to go in aggressively. The time distortion does happen for Yoon Jae-jung. So gets his time escape back onto his favor. So Silent King, with that escape, he's going to try to go for it, but the chase does happen immediately, and that's a good enough take to almost knock him out.
No!
Jung Woo-yoon heals himself back with that frost. He was at the slimmest of health before he had used that. Surprisingly, he didn't use a tag. Instead, he went for that risky play. If that didn't connect, that would have been a dangerous situation for Jung Woo-yoon.
Yeah, GC Busan Blue was desperate to finish off that tiny little health that they were hitting him, and he used his frost armor, got his health back, took advantage of that.
Oh, the ultimate does happen from Jung Woo-yoon, but not too much effect. But as you mentioned, I think Jung Woo-yoon exactly knew the mind games between the two teams, and he knew the entire team was going to go after him. So what a better time to use that to freeze yourself and get that immediate health back.
Yeah, this is, exactly the plays that we were talking about from Jung Woo-yoon.
Interfere coming in from both sides, trying to make something happen, but Daniel Choi without his escape along with Jung Woo-yoon as well. So this would be the chance for the Assassin to put in that crucial stun. We know that can make a big difference in the damage charge.
Yep, they both decide to tag out. Sang-ho Kim comes out still having 2 tag points, so he is very safe right now. He could play a little bit more aggressive compared to Yoon Tae-sun or whoever it may be on GC Busan Blue side, because he could always tag out.
And definitely Sang-ho Kim has been playing safe, as you mentioned. The Blade and Dancer ultimate is not going to connect.
Oh, he does hit him.
Oh, he does change this direction. Trying to get a little bit of damage, which he does. So Sang-ho Kim, as we keep mentioning, he's been playing safe, but not putting a crucial damage onto any opponent. So it might be his chance now.
Yeah, him having his 2 tag points, he should, like I said, play more aggressive. Yeah. But it just doesn't seem like he's doing any damage.
Oh, putting the lightning draw doesn't go to full effect. Yoon Tae-sun now taking a little bit of damage onto Naoka. Actually uses the first tag, as you mentioned, back onto Dougie Kang on the Blade Dancer. I don't know how this is going to turn out with the 2 Blade Dancers spinning at each other. Time distortion does happen on the side of Yoon Jae-jung. Get that escape back. The Warlock does use that chain onto the air for a lot of damage before his interfere is over.
Sang-ho Kim interferes in and actually tries to do something. Same thing with Daeyoung Choi. Not too much happens. But if you see now that on the IDF side, nobody has their interfere points until the 1 minute mark. Whereas GC Busan Blue, they have a total of 3 interfere points still. They have to take advantage of that before everybody gets an interfere point at the 1 minute mark.
And definitely we're getting to the late game stage of the game where the tag points and the lack of interferes will be the crucial difference between the two teams. But as you mentioned, GC Busan Blue is in favor. Regarding those resources, and Yoon Tae-sun will also get his free tag back most likely within this next 2 seconds, whether they'll look for the chase. It doesn't seem like they're going to happen within that distance. Actually, that's going to try to make an effort for it.
Oh, on the other hand, Daeyoung Choi is the one who actually gets that. He was the one who was force tagged in too.
Yeah, and that's a very good play by GC Busan Blue to negate mention that thing from happening. But Daeyoung Choi this time, he's trying to go for a lot more aggressive play coming in from him in this late game. You're going to have to look for that lot of damage as much as you need. If it does go over the TK, which most likely it would be the difference in the damage shot. Oh, that's going to be enough damage!
Sang-ho Kim again!
On the ultimate, is connecting for the second tag. Another one!
Going back and
back and forth, and it's going to be 1 man down for each side. Damage shot, it will be very hard to predict with Jung Woo-yoon having healed much of that back. We're gonna guess that GC Busan Blue is on the favor, as the Force Master we know does heal a lot of his health back. We've seen that instance today, also in this tag match.
Oh, jeez, 10 seconds left. We don't know until right now. Jung Woo-yoon is doing as much damage as he can. Meteor. But he heals up once again. It is not good.
And it just seems like GC Busan Blue will win out this tag just because of the damage difference. There's so much heal damage from Jung Woo-yoon's side that it all accumulates to the total damage that GC Busan Blue eventually put out. So we're probably going to see the left side, as we do, will be the winner coming out from this crucial tag match that they had to win to bring us back to Game 7. So this is all for the marbles now. Everything is on the line. GC Busan Blue can easily get the win just again here.
Yeah, and it's been a while since we saw a full 7 set being played, because usually it's a 3-3 and we'll skip set 6 and go straight to set 7, which is worth 3 points. But today we actually get to see all 7 matches being played, and it's with 2 of the, one of the greatest teams, GC Busan Blue, the 2 champions, with Jung Woo-yoon and Sang-ho Kim and Dougie Kang on the IDEPs. They're both formidable teams, and I'm so happy that we get to see a full 7 set with these 2 teams.
And definitely IDEPs has been full of players who have all the potential, like we always like to mention, because they, as individual players, are very famous in this community, and
Yeah.
everybody knows them to be specifically talented. But the team synergy has been what's lacking from this team of IDOS. But if you can get that first tag win for GC Busan Blue, it's actually a very good team win, and it's really proving yourself that you guys are improving in this terms of team synergy, and they actually almost beat out GC Busan Blue, even if it wasn't for the last bit of damage we see near the end right here. Actually might have been going towards the items if that last kill didn't come through.
Yeah, if Sang-Ho Kim was able to somehow negate that damage and stay alive but not die, then yeah, it would have probably, even with Jung Woo-yoon's heals, it probably would have gone to items. But like you said, Sang-Ho Kim died at the end or near the end, which gave back GC Busan Blue the edge for that TKO win.
I think IDEPS really did realize that near the end, as we saw Jung Woo-yoon trying to put that desperate meteor down, trying to put as much damage to get them even close. But we all knew that, you know, with so much healing coming from Jung Woo-yoon's Force Master, that always is the double-edged sword, especially in these tag matches, because you like to think that you're safely winning in this match. But when this goes to the TKO, when you have that Force Master who healed 1 billion HP right back to their favor, obviously we know that it's gonna go towards the opposite side. So obviously, IDEPS wanted to win out this one. They wanted to get a KO, but with how these two teams are really playing, it's really tough to get a KO win for more 3 matches. But we're going to go right on to Game 7. No more talks being allowed, because we're going to go to the action right away to see who takes the win between GC Busan Blue and IDEPS. The last tag match coming up. Let's get it on. Here we go. For the last match between GC Busan Blue and IDEPS in Game 7 will be the last clincher for either of these teams to get the win out in the series.
Yep, and we have a Assassin Mirror match right now off the bat. This happened before. We'll have to see. Sang-Ho Kim putting a lot of damage to Daeyoung Choi.
Definitely Sang-Ho Kim, but I have to say he was the better assassin in this particular series against GC Busan Blue. Daeyoung Choi showed glimpses, but not too much of what we expected from him. But Sang-Ho Kim, I think he played a lot better than we initially expected of him. But as we say that, yeah, Daeyoung Choi does use that Ice Mine. Oh, doesn't pop it right away though.
He rolls, Sang-Ho Kim rolls out of it. He's like, oh my god, I missed my chance.
Just a casual back roll,
And no chase happened. Ice Mine wasn't popped either. Daeyoung Choi and Sang-Ho Kim both out of their stealth, but Daeyoung Choi will be getting it faster. We'll see if he's gonna make a move, you know, a little bit before Sang-Ho Kim gets his stealth back.
And 10 seconds is a frame that Daeyoung Choi has to make a move, but he's gonna be passive for now. Put that flower down in case of an escape opportunity, but Sang-Ho Kim also really liking this situation because he likes that kind of getting back, but it's kind of give no time getting into the air and also into the webbing as well. The knockdown is going to be happening for Daeyoung Choi, so putting a lot of damage onto Sang-Ho Kim very much early in this game.
All right, Sang-Ho Kim used his stealth and tries to make a move. There we go, Shadow Slash connects. Forces Daeyoung Choi to use his stealth as well. High wire
pull in. The pull-in actually going to be negated by the defensive interferer coming in for IDEPS. So a reactionary one comes in from well, but mostly a defensive one from both sides because Daeyoung Choi on that pull-in would have been a crucial damage onto Sang-Ho Kim.
Yeah, both have 10 seconds left for that force tag. If they stay on either side of the wall, yeah, it's just like a friendly tag. Let's, you know, just tag out.
Shaking hands.
Yeah, and unless if someone starts to move slowly.
But it seems like that's not going to happen because the force tag is going to happen. Too much distance to go from either side to go for that chase. So bringing that familiar out is Yoon Jae-jung on the Warlock, the second man out against Jung Woo-yoon on the Force Master. He's been doing well. Jung Woo-yoon, I think, has been the one to make the least amount of mistakes for Team IDEPS, and he's been doing everything right. But unfortunately, he didn't get the win in this particular tag match last time around, which would have gotten the victory in the series. But Meteor not happening this time around against Yoon Jae-jung, puts himself in enough distance to evade that damage.
Yep, Yoon Jae-jung, IDEPS is doing such a great job locking down the Warlock, so he does not get his full aerial damage. So we're not seeing too much of the Warlock action, but not because Yoon Jae-jung is bad at the Warlock. No. It's just IDEPS is such a good team, especially with Jung Woo-yoon's freeze team, the party buff, the party saves. Yeah. So, you know, unfortunate for Yoon Jae-jung, the Warlock.
And definitely the Yoon Jae-jung has been doing well. He just did good enough to force out the interfere from IDEPS. So it's been doing everything right, but hopefully he needs a little more than that to get his team the victory that they really desire. But another big series of meteor coming in, but not much damage coming in. Maybe he's not in that distance to get that damage connected to him, but that's going to be Yunjung Sai time this time, putting in that familiar, trying to put in that damage. Yoon.
He knows how to play.
Definitely.
He knows how to play a Force Master, like especially very annoying if you're his opponent. Like,
yeah.
You know, if you're on attack, he frees himself. If you go close, he freezes you.
Yeah.
And then if not, he just tabs out like he just did. And, you know, he's going to get one of the 4 things cool down when he's, you know, staggering his usage. There we go, another one. And he tags out.
That was probably the most subtle use of the chains that I've ever seen from a Warlock. But it's going to be a force tag going into both sides, and Daeyeon Choi is back out on the Assassin, whereas Duggan makes his first appearance in this tag match for Team IDEPS, and it's going to be no tag points used by either side so far. So they're really trying to save those resources for crucial plays wanting to be made later in the game.
Yeah, it's been 4 minutes, and you know, they've only used a couple of interfere points. That's it.
Daeyeon doing well, forcing out all the escapes away from Daeyeon Choi. So Jung Yoon does come back out because he did have that lacking of escapes. So you don't want to be lacking escapes in front of an assassin. So he does tag out in time for Jung Yoon to come back out, hopefully to do this usual thing of killing another assassin.
Yeah, Daeyeon Choi already. Same thing with Jung-ho. They both filled up their ults. There we go. The ult is used. Okay, it lands. A couple slashes lands on Jung Yoon.
That's a very good, something about assassin ults connecting today is a coincidence maybe, but good skills by both of these assassins on both sides in making this work. So Daeyeon Choi getting that a little bit of damage onto Jung Yoon, and I'm sure he wanted a lot more than that, but does freeze himself once again.
This is why Jung Yoon is so annoying to the assassins.
And you would think that Blade&Soul is full of actions, but when you get 2 high-quality teams of this caliber, you're gonna get very passive plays because both teams are doing well, reactionary plays to all the offensive tactics that they're trying to throw out.
Yunjung ulti is pulling.
Oh, it actually gets
No, he dodged it. Like, if that landed, Daeyeon Choi would have, I mean, not Daeyeon Choi, Sang Kim would have probably been knocked out with only 50% health, but he was able to negate that damage and just take a little bit damage from Daeyeon Choi actually until Daeyeon Choi tagged out. Yutasan is out with 2 points.
Yep, and GC Busan Blue uses their first tag point of this game, bringing out Yutasan on the Blade Dancer as you mentioned. Sang Kim on the Assassin is going to be looking for something to happen on this play because not much really happening for IDES other than healing themselves back up from the lost damage, but the reactionary interfere coming in from both sides. The time distortion is going to happen with the familiar. Jung Yoon puts that interfere down, but not too much effect. IDEPS right now has to look for a lot more than what they're doing now because you're going to have to look for a lot more damage because if it does go to the TKO once again, you always see that GC Busan Blue is ahead in that department.
Yeah, exactly, and a reactionary 2v2 right now. And overall, if you notice, IDEPS has taken more damage, used more resources overall. GC Busan Blue maybe like 1 or 2 more interfere points, that's it. But if you see IDEPS now, 2 of the players are all out of interfere points until, you know, the 3-minute mark, well, where they'll get 1 point each for their interferes.
And definitely GC Busan Blue has been showing the best defensive efforts out of these 2 teams because even putting out that damage towards their opposition, they're keeping their health relatively healthy without a significant regen skill, so unlike the Force Master. So it's very good of GC Busan Blue to keep their damage intact because if they're going to win out in this match once again, they're going to have to keep themselves healthy enough to make that crucial damage near the end to get them ahead in the edge.
Both knocked down. Duggan actually backsteps, forces Yuntasan to use his tap escape and tag out into Yunjung.
The knockdown is going to be happening, but for little damage. The body swap does happen onto Daeyeon Choi. He's going to get the damage to the chains. Nothing coming from it though. Using that familiar to clearing himself back out, but Sang Kim is out on the field against Yunjung.
Okay, Sang Kim is trying to play aggressive. Yunjung is out of his tap escape. Puts down the Sanctum.
Sang Kim on the Assassin is going to be looking for 1 more stun, and he's going to be putting some damage, but he needs a stun to put in that damage that he really wants from that Assassin. But Yunjung with that familiar is going to try to create all the distractions in the world, trying to negate that from happening.
Exactly, and you know they did get their interfere point 30 seconds ago.
Oh, this might be the chance though. Oh, but that's good enough for the stun to happen. So Yunjung keeping himself safe for now. Let's tag out. Oh, the chase actually trying to be efforted by Sang Kim. not too much good effect. Daeyeon Choi still has his tab escape from that effort.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Sang-Ho Kim uses tab escape.
Yeah, he actually does.
Daeyeon Choi is like I don't know. He has Sang-Ho Kim overall this series did more damage, but Daeyeon Choi is showing more precise plays.
Definitely, and Daeyeon Choi, he's been on that slowly and quietly making the right plays, and it's less noticeable by any chance, but it's gonna be all about the damage chart in the end. If they do go into that damage chart with a TKO, that's gonna be happening in the next 1 minute and 45 seconds, but it's going to be the crucial one because GC Busan Blue is still relatively healthy compared to the seemingly lower IDEP side with the HP.
Yeah, and IDEPs, as we mentioned, they've been healing up more overall compared to GC Busan Blue.
Oh,
and there we go.
Might be the series of damage happening now from both sides. This might be the chance for
out.
both teams to do it. And the Lightning Jaw trying to get some effect onto it, but not too much effect coming from that.
Yeah, and now we can tell 15 seconds they will get their interfere points back, same thing. But overall, GC Busan Blue obviously has more resources to work with.
Definitely the health bars are misleading in the fact that they look sort of equal, but we know that Jung-Yoon with a million HP that he can heal back for himself. So obviously GC Busan Blue, if it stays like this, they will get out the win in that TKO, but this might be a chance for IDEPs to start something, putting that crucial damage near the end, which they did in the first series, first tag game that we saw in this series. So doing that again will get them a win, but without that, it's going to be likely a win towards GC Busan Blue side.
Yeah, 40 seconds left. We'll see what happens.
Oh, the
this
might be the chance now. This might be the start of that damage that we're talking about, but puts out the interfere, trying to negate most of that from happening. So doing a good defensive enter, the Blade&Soul ultimate does not connect, so that's exactly not what IDEPs was looking for out of that play, but Yoon Jung keeping himself very good distance away from their opponents. They interfere, doing everything, trying to put on that every ultimate they have available, trying to make that damage happen. IDEPs really realizes their situation, that they have to put out more damage to get this win. It's not going to be a KO, it's going to be a TKO with the damage shot, but it's going to be actually GC Busan Blue getting into the area and we're putting on another damage shot to the Blade&Soul, and that is likely the win for GC Busan Blue in this series.
Yeah, most likely. You know, even though there weren't any kills coming out at the end, if you notice, both sides they've been constantly staggering and using their interfere points. And yes, you just saw GC Busan Blue does take the win. It was a close call though.
It was
super close.
It was a complete exhaustion of effort because GC Busan Blue has been behind literally 4-1 at one point in this series, but slowly and slowly they get the one single that they need, then they get their tag point when they need it. And through all that, they get their last win in this Game 7, the last tag match where it all mattered, and just in the end, it's all about the results, and GC Busan Blue gets the win.
Exactly, and like we said, it's a close game. It was a full 7 set, and even in the last set, they went down to a TKO where, you know, up to the mid game, it was, I guess, a little bit towards GC Busan Blue, but it wasn't too much tilted towards GC Busan Blue until the end, nearly the end, when there was like 20 to 10 seconds left, when they were staggering interfere points, doing as much damage as they can, both sides. But GC Busan Blue get the better, you know, deal out of the staggering points with the resources.
Yeah. And it's always been the last few seconds where these teams made the difference. This is the only game that really didn't happen for the Team IDES, because Team IDES really needed that explosive amount of damage to at least get even in that damage chart, but obviously it didn't happen. Actually, GC Busan Blue, that Blade&Soul ultimate missing was part of it, but GC Busan Blue, as you see in the last few seconds, they would actually want to put out additional damage to actually clinch themselves in this win in the series.
Yeah, at the end,
right here,
Dog and Kang takes a lot of damage last. With that Warlock and the Blade Dancer. Yeah, that Blade Dancer all did land once at the end. Good thing it did.
And it was definitely good enough to win out in this series, and we're going to actually take a short break. Moving on to the second series of the game, we're going to have to see whether the losers matches will bring us a surprise to either of these teams. We're going to see who's going to be the team to go up against IDEPs in our third match of our day 5, but it's going to be a good one for GC Busan Blue, who in the end does get out the win over IDEPs. So IDEPs has one more match to face off in today, so we're going to go to a short break, and we're going to be back for the second series of matches, so don't go anywhere.
민검사로 우승을 한 권혁우라고 합니다.
아, 반갑습니다.
번개배기? 아 뭐야?
타이타이타임.
이거는 이제
그러니까 이제 저는 이제 곤욕이라서 이제 오늘은 이제 번개배기를 이제 아이고. 완전 날카로웠어요 이거.
통밀도를 사용해서 틈에 이제 바람개비로 튕기는 경우도 있어요.
아, 좋았다. 가장 좋은 팁이었어요. 이게 뭐야?
매력 있어요, 매력 있어요.
이게 매력이 있어요?
그렇죠.
Welcome back, everyone, to Blade&Soul Korea Finals. We just got through the first series of Day 5 when we saw GC Busan Blue pick out a win, a very close one against Team IDAS. What did you think of that matchup?
Super close.
That's all the description that we have for it.
No, the reason I am only just saying it was super close is because there was small mistakes on both sides. You know, I'm not gonna be picky, but the reason I'm just putting it out there as super close is because both GC Busan Blue and IDEPS played it amazingly.
They did.
They showed what a champion stage teams should be like. Managing their resources so well, like even into like late games, they always had at least 1 or 2 players with tag points left, like 2 to 3 interfere points left. So like it's not that they're like they are playing passive, but they're not playing passive because they're scared.
No way at all.
They're definitely calculating each other, trying to predict what's going to happen.
Exactly what I wanted to mention, because it's exactly what every other team was trying to do, but doing a bad job at it, because they're not as skilled, they're not as experienced, and the team synergy is really not there. This is an example of high-quality tag match that you just saw in this previous series where GC Busan Blue and IDEPS, they weren't completely aggressive at each other, but they knew all the defensive tactics to counter those plays. And because that series happened, it just seemed like a resident sleeper series. But those tag matches, that's what high-quality Blade&Soul is supposed to be all about.
Exactly.
Obviously, the singles, even with the no-name, the full swing we're going to see in the next series, we're going to see wonderful singles because all these players that are registered in this tournament, they're all prominent single players. That's what they're known for, and that's why they are signed into these teams. But the tag match is what makes the good teams really separate themselves from the great teams.
Exactly. And like you just said, like No Name versus Full Swing, they are the challenger stage teams. But as you said, they're in this tournament and they still made it up this far, which means they have potential. They have the skill sets to perform on the offstage. But I just want to pinpoint one thing, that challenger teams and champion stage teams do have a little bit of a skill set difference.
It does, yeah.
It may not be a big gap, but there still is, and I hope these challenger stage teams can close that gap within this series.
That's what we're really hoping for, because that's what's really going to evolve this entire Blade&Soul scene, with all teams being competitive towards each other. We saw in last week's matches that the challengers teams weren't very competitive against the championship team. So we're looking for a little bit more than that, but as you say, the skill difference is definitely there. An example of that is Hyukyang on the Force Master. Is definitely not as good as Jungwon on the Force Master. Definitely we can say that. And also, we're going to look at Full Swing here. We also got an introduction for No Name, but these two teams are very much rookie teams, and they're really looking towards their hopes of making it to the World Championship somehow. They can do it by getting into at least number 2 seed, but obviously that feat is going to be a very difficult one to accomplish.
Yeah, exactly. And the winner of this match, this whole series, the second series, No Name versus Full Swing, even if they win, they're not done. They have to go up against IDEPS in a best of 7.
There's so much to do. It's such a cringe because they know their skill level. They know the opponent's skill level. And they've seen these top teams in Korea, and they really wanted to know what their skill levels were and what their team potential are compared to these top teams. But we saw in last week's matches that that distance was definitely a visible thing. And really, they want to gap themselves. They want to really close that gap as much as they can. But they just have so many steps they have to take before they can actually accomplish that. But like you said, this is going to be their first step towards that direction, and either No Name to Full Swing, they're going to be looking for that matchup against IDAS, which will be happening at the last part of Day 5 today.
Yeah, and like we're talking about closing gaps, and maybe they can't close gaps by taking steps. They might need a hoverboard to speed up a little bit. But who knows? But the first match that's coming up is Uri Lim versus Byung-tae Che, a Force Master versus Warlock.
So Force Master Uri Lim, this is the big story of this team from last week, because we saw them in week 1 who have been really bad. They're probably one of the worst teams.
Unfortunately.
But they were. We have to state that because of the performance that they have shown, especially against another challenger team. They did really, really bad. And Uri Lim was probably one of the worst players in that team to do that. I have to say that because, but the achievement of that is the performance that they showed last week, was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
And Wurilim's performance
Yeah.
was beyond phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it is completely beyond the expectations we have for this player.
Yeah.
And I think just that's going to be the big storyline to continue on with, how well they perform against Full Swing.
Yeah, and now I understand why you were, bashing on Wurilim.
To give the best compliments.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that is a fact. The first week, No Name overall performed pretty bad. Overall,
Yeah.
like you guys can see the replay, and we're not making up stuff.
We're not,
It's
yeah.
not a personal opinion. It's actually what happened during the matches. However, last week, Wurilim, not only Wurilim, No Name as a team improved like, I don't know, 1,000 steps. They were a totally a new team.
And just a reminder what exactly happened last week was that Chobo
Yeah.
from Group A were the favorites to become the number 2 seed. But not only did No Name beat Superman to get them through, but we're going to talk about this later because we have to get into Game 1. And No Name did Full Swing. The first singles will be coming right your way, so let's get it on. And this is the man we're talking about with Wurilim on the Force Master for the side of No Named, going up against Byung-tae on Full Swing. So what we want to continue on with that story is that, Full Swing is a team with some number of veterans.
Yeah.
They've had experience in these offline tournaments, but regarding that knowledge though, they haven't played as well as we probably expected from a semi-veteran team.
Exactly. Wurilim and No Named overall, they're fairly a new team overall. All three players
are
weren't,
rookies.
they're not familiar faces to all of us or most of us.
Yeah.
So, we did expect No Name to not perform as well, but like we mentioned before, before the match, they've been improving constantly.
Oh, but the Warlock Byung-tae is not going to let us finish that sentence because we're trying to compliment Wurilim for everything he does.
Oh my god, and he is doing some damage now.
The caster curse is being real on both sides. Every time we try to compliment one player, the damage goes against their way. And Wurilim, taking the second series of damage from Byung-tae on the Warlock, is going to be taking a lot of heal back towards his favor. And we know that this is not attack, so every heal cannot be a bad thing. Time distortion is going to be happening to get that cooldown back right towards his favor.
Oh, Wurilim gets into the aerial, uses second wind again.
It's still in that shackles, trying to get that happen. The stun is coming up for more damage. This might be good enough to finish him off, and Byung-tae gets the Game 1 victory for Full Swing.
Yeah, Wurilim had 10 seconds left for his second wind to come back.
Yeah.
But, the Warlock aerials, what can I say? Yeah, but it does seem like Wurilim was kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
He did do a decent amount of damage when he caught Byung-tae's back.
Yeah.
But Byung-tae playing the Warlock, and the Warlock aerial doing so much damage. What can we say? Wurilim was out of his tab escape for the next 10 more seconds. So.
And probably next to the Assassin, Warlock is one of those classes that really takes care of these the advantages of these lack of escapes, and really showed again. Byung-tae had this first series of damage, as you saw right away, but the second series of damage came just right there with that lack of escape right here. It's gonna be good enough to stun him up and get him into the aerial to get good enough damage on that Warlock to finish him off near the end.
Yeah, unfortunately, Wurilim, last week, he was able to play a lot of mind games by saving his tab escape. However, you can't do that too much with the Warlock because the Warlocks are too strong.
You're gonna take it all
While
that
you're playing mind games, you're dead.
While you're playing mind games, you're gonna take enough damage to get yourself killed. So not the best of mind games when you already end up dying.
Unfortunate.
So so Wurilim, he did really well. I think he did particularly well today as well in the Game 1. But it's just Byung-tae using his advantages and using the resources that he had, and the lack of resources that Wurilim did not have with that escape. He just used that to his advantage, and that just got him the Game 1 win for Full Swing. But it's gonna be Game 2 coming right away. Probably the second impressive player for None was Il-hwan-jang on that Blade Master. One of the few players in this tournament to play that Blade Master, but he has done specifically very well for this team. But he's gonna be going up against Hyuk-yeon, another experienced veteran from the side of Full Swing.
Yep, Hyuk-yeon will be on the Force Master. whereas Iran Jang will be on the Blade Master. So two masters going up against each other. Who will be the better master, the Blade Master or the Force Master? We'll have to see.
We're going to have to get the answer to that ending because Game 2 will tell us whether No Name can get us a score right back onto their favor. Getting it even to 1v1 is exactly what they're going to be looking for. This is the best of 4, guys, and we're going to be moving right on to Game 2 between No Name and Full Swing. The second singles coming right your way. Let's get it on. And here we go for the Game 2 between No Name and Full Swing. And as we mentioned just earlier, it is the best of 4, so every point counts a lot more than it does for best of 7. So Irwan Jang on No Name, he has to get a point right back on his team.
Ooh, all right, the Venom Grip happens with the Flock of Blades right off.
Yeah. And Irwan Jang sees Hyukyeon go into the air with that Frost Burst, and Hyukyeon's gonna have to look for some damage onto the Blade Master, which he's starting to do now. Gets a little bit of damage onto the aerial. It's gonna be his second aerial. Oh, not coming your way.
Not coming.
Yeah, so
back
Irwan
rolls
Jang, back rolls out just in time to negate that second area, which would have been additional damage going against his way. The meteor is actually coming out. He has no way to escape this, and this is gonna be. Could he have used the tab escape to escape that?
No, unfortunately, Hyukyeon just outplayed. Look at Irwan Jang's face.
Oh my word.
He's like, what? I think I just read his lips. He's like, what?
In English, you say.
He said what?
Yeah, what is the... When a Korean person says what in English, he's pretty startled about his situation.
Exactly.
So, and definitely No Name should be very startled because they weren't expecting a 2-0 deficit going into this best of 4, and they just have to win out this next tag to hopefully get their 2 points right back in their favor. But Hyukyeon doing a very good job. As soon as he gets him into that wall for that first series of damage, he doesn't get the second aerial, which was pretty surprising, and a good play by Irwan Jang.
So he couldn't have tab escape because he was not stunned. He was just frozen in place, and he showed his back to his opponent, which was a Force Master.
Yeah.
So he was just taking full damage with the chill stacks, and you can't escape out of that.
Definitely dying from a free meter with your tab escape up is the worst feeling in the world. And as a Blade Master, you want to be immobile as that class was designed to be, but just when you're frozen up, when I'm frozen up, I can't escape from anything. You can't either. So this Blade Master showed that he can't either, and that's going to be the 2-0 going towards Full Swing side. We're going to move on to Game 3, though. We're going to get to the first tag match, the only tag match of this series. And we're going to see whether No Name can really pull out a victory and get 2 points to get them even in the series.
Yeah, good thing Hyukyeon didn't, maybe Glacial Beam or stun him, because if he stunned him, Irwan Jang would have been able to use his tag. Yeah. But he was smart. Obviously, a Force Master knows when his chill stacks are stacked and knows when his opponent cannot move. And that was very well played by Hyukyeon.
And it's definitely a best of 4, and when you're so cringing over these few points that you really just lose or quiet, and for these first 2 games, you always have to control your mentality because you know that just winning this next match can get you right back even with this team. So, it's up to No Name to how strong their mentality is going on to this Game 3, which we're going to move on to right away to see whether they can get that 2 points back, get themselves back to even against Full Swing. We're going to get this tag match underway. Let's get it on. And the tag match begins between No Name and Full Swing. Full Swing could potentially win out this series in this particular game just by winning out this one, but No Name is not going to be looking for that result. They're going to have to look for a win for themselves to get them back into even to have the last chance to get this game right back.
Yeah, and Yoon Dong-ho on the Destroyer. First time we see a Destroyer today.
Yeah.
And, I'm excited to see how Yoon Dong-ho will perform because he was the least performing player on No Name.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how he does today.
And Young Tae has done particularly well in Game 1 when he showed up against the Force Master Rory Lim. So if he can do that again, he's doing a good job now of getting that early damage onto the Destroyer. So Young Tae doing everything that he's supposed to do. Just going aggressive and trying to put more damage onto him without the escapeless Destroyer that Yoon Dong-ho is right now.
Yeah, Yundong is just trying to spin and get close to him, and Byung-tae is actually he was putting a good distance on him, but at the end he did get grabbed, but didn't take too much damage.
Byung-tae does tab escape out of that grab, trying to negate most of that damage that could come from a destroyer. So Yundong probably not very happy about his situation. He has to look for a lot more, but actually forces out the tag already from full swing. It's going to be the first one, and Dongjin Park on the Blade Dancer is going to be the second man out for this team.
Yep, Dong Yoon, it seems like, 30 more seconds. Why not just, last and endure until that forced tag? Woo! A double knockback. That was good.
And the interfere not coming into full effect there, and Yundong making things work, but none tag point. Yeah, tag point being used by No Name and Ilwan Jang on the Blade Masters to back out onto the field. He did lose out that the singles that he had in the second game. Putting in that damage though.
Tons of damage by Iran Jang right there.
Oh, and he gets a chase right after he is tagged in. Might be enough damage with that interfere. Does freeze himself in time with Hyuk-Yan coming from that interfere to make that happen. But wow, Byung-tae, he probably didn't expect that as soon as he came in to save his teammate, but got the beating to himself as well.
Yep, and Iran Jang doing all the damage. He's probably tired, tags out. Dong Yu comes back in with the destroyer.
So Yundong had not been very successful the first time he was out, so has to make this work a second time around and make this work. But Yundong trying to get this play onto Byung-tae is on the lowest of health, but
I'm telling you, it's the fish axe. I'm telling you.
The fish meta is always a mystery. But I'm telling you, but Byung-tae is going to be coming out, has to get some redemption for his team. He's not going to be happy with how he ends up with this stage. The chains come up, and it's going to be good enough to force out the tag from No Name to Wuri Lim. It's going to be the first time we see him in this tag match.
Yeah, and it's only been not even 3 minutes yet, and Dong Yoon or Yundong is already out of tag points.
Hey, but he's been not being able to get anything done while his time out on the field, so gonna have to depend on his teammates a little bit more. Maybe use that interfere points that he does have available, trying to make something for his team. But other than that, Yundong, as you say, hasn't been making any statements whether to help out his teammates to getting this victory here.
There we go, interferes and puts it down. He hits a familiar. Nothing.
But the familiar onto the hit is going to be good enough to get it back down onto the ground. So Byung-tae, 5 seconds before he's force tagged out, whether he can use the chase is probably going to be predicted. Wuri Lim, does backstep in time to avoid any sort of chase opportunities, and Hyuk-Yan is back out onto the field. I have to say, Hyuk-Yan has been playing everything right from the singles and up to the tag as well. Putting in that damage onto Wuri Lim. A Force Master Mirror Mesh we know can end in an instant with the damage potentially coming from both sides.
Yep, that interfere comes in, freezes, Hyuk-Yan freezes himself, making them waste that interfere point. Very well played. Giving
H-back-P donations right back to full swing, so that's not what they wanted out of that interfere, so feeling pretty furious with himself, I'm sure, with the plays that he has missed out on in many occasions in this particular tag match. But Ilwan Jang, he's the player that has been doing well, putting that early damage in this game for tag.
Yep, freezes himself. Good defensive interfere.
Yep. Ilwan Jang does come in. Uses that Blade Master Ultimate. Gets 1.5 stacks, barely. But he does give the HP right back at to Hyuk-Yan because he has freezed himself to absorb all of that Blade Master Ultimate damage.
So much damage. Well, not so much, but does a fair amount of damage onto.
Oh, the ultimate does freeze the ground.
Yep, slow. Alright, he is stunned. You heard that ding. When you hear that ding, that's the reflect.
But Wuri Lim can't do anything about this. Maybe the interfere coming in a little bit late. He probably wanted to make something happen just a little bit before, but I don't know if it's the teammates making the wrong shot calling, but it just seems like that might be the Achilles heels for this team No Name, because this tag match is so important to get them right back in the series.
Yeah, and that defensive interfere was way late.
Yeah, definitely. And Dongjin Park on the Blade Dancer, he's going to be feeling very good about the situation unless he takes a lot of damage from Wuri Lim. He's going to be enough to force him to tag out onto Byung-tae though. Byung-tae brings out the familiar. The Yundong does come back out. This guy has to make something happen or his team is not going to get the win here.
Yep, they are both out of tab escapes, which means they have to endure the next 1 minute and 30 seconds for the force tag. So it's basically a 1v1.
Oh no! Byung-tae gets him into the air, and it does enough damage to knock Yuno in the end. So Yuno ends up dying without essentially doing nothing for his team.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the crucial difference.
Nothing for his team.
Literally, because there's no one significant point that we have to mark out from this player. And just, it's a tag match, and all three players have to contribute.
Yeah.
And just, just going out like that without being able to do anything is going to be a huge psychological edge going towards full swing now.
Yeah, especially being a destroyer, he has so much party skills, and he's already knocked out. There's still 3 minutes and 45 seconds left to the match.
Yeah, so TKO is probably not going to be what we're seeing here with one man down already. They're going to be looking for the full action and hopefully trying to get more men knocked down if they can. But Byung-tae in a very dangerous situation against this. Blade Master hopefully has to tag out, but he can't because he doesn't have any tag points available. So he has to stall out for the next 25 seconds. Irwan feeling very good about his situation now.
Right now, they both out of escapes.
And
Byung-tae actually gets his escape back in 2 seconds. So we'll have to see if Byung-tae is able to keep his distance and maybe land the CC on Iranjang before he makes his move.
And even full swing, they don't even have an option of making an interfere because they're already out of all interfere points. So Iranjang with no name, he's going to be looking for the solo kill onto Byung-tae hopefully, but he does have that force tag just in time to get Hyuki back onto the field. So they're technically still a 3-man alive in the side of full swing.
Yep, and Hyuki, if you notice, he still does have that tag point, so he can tag out if it's too dangerous.
But Iranjang doing everything, right? Putting in that damage. There's no answer coming in from Hyuki, but he's going to be out in the very close distance. He has to look for that tag. The chase is coming out. He does get a little bit of damage onto Worry Lim as soon as he comes out. Oh, that's stun.
Tab escape and backstep escape is used. Worry Lim is out of escapes.
And this is the interfere coming out for all of the teams right now. That's the interfere coming in reactionary. So Worry Lim in a very dangerous situation, getting his HP knocked out one by one. And that's going to be good enough to finish him out. And Worry Lim is knocked out to be the second player knocked out for Team No Name.
And another ult.
Iranjang wasting his ult once again with the Blade Master, and Hyuki on and the side of full swing is an extreme advantage, being 3-1 man in the scoreline right now.
Yeah, but I have to say this. Iranjang used his ult twice today in one tag match, so it just shows how much he is landing his damages to charge his ult charges.
Yeah,
but
we get that.
But if two of your teammates are down and you can't do anything, even if you have an interfere point, 1v3 with the Blade Master is mostly unlikely.
And the interfere coming in for a good series of damage towards Iranjang, and Iranjang looks to be in shackles because he has to somehow make it alive without that tab escape available for the next 25 seconds. So Iranjang in a very dangerous situation. That's the ultimate is going to be coming out, putting in a lot of damage onto Iranjang. So Dongjin Park right now healing some of the HP back, looking very safe there. You got to be good enough damage to knock him off in the end, and full swing eventually gets the win in this series.
Yep, and as we mentioned before this whole second set of series started, the loser of this match goes home, and No Name has to go home.
And we're officially announcing that No Name will no longer be a part of this tournament, and sadly they will not have their position in the World Championship that will be happening sometime very soon later in this year. But full swing, just another chance for these guys to make that one step closer and hopefully get that closer to that magical second seed.
Will they against IDEPS? I don't know, because champion team IDEPS, even though they lost to GC Busan Blue, currently the best team, quote unquote, but IDEPS is still a formidable team. They are from the champion stage, so we'll see if Full Swing is able to beat IDEPS to take the second seed to have go into the next have a chance to the world.
And I want to add on to that ending. You talk about IDEPS being a championship team, obviously, and we know they're a formidable team, but even from today's series, we saw the improvement these guys made, and they were very, very competitive against GC Busan Blue. GC Busan Blue literally almost lost in any point of that series. So, just going back to that fact that we've definitely observed from this first series of the day, they have a lot of work cut out for them to beat against a very strong current IDEPS side.
Exactly, and also I want to add that last week, IDEPS, where it was the champion stage team versus the challenger stage teams, it was IDEPS versus Full Swing. And
Oh.
IDEPS were the team that beat them. That's why they were able to go up against GC Busan Blue. So this time around, the third match is going to be a redemption match.
And we're going to actually have to go to a short break once again before we are back with the same team. Full Swing is going to have their chance against IDEPS and hopefully get their chances alive, because you know, if IDEPS are to be upset by these extreme underdogs of Full Swing, it's going to be an extreme, immense amount of surprise for us. But you know, we're going to have to see whether IDEPS, you know, can repeat that performance that they showed last week, beating out Full Swing. Whether they can do that again, we're going to have to find out after this break. So stay tuned with us. Don't go anywhere.
우승을 한 권혁우라고 합니다.
아, 반갑습니다.
번개배기? 뭐야?
타이타이타임.
네, 이거는 이제
그러니까 이제 저는 이제 곤욕이라서 이제 오늘은 이제 번개배기를 이제 아이고. 완전 날카로웠어 이거.
통밀도를 사용해서 틈에 이제 바람개비로 튕기는 경우도 있어요.
아, 좋았다. 가장 좋은 팁이었어요. 이게 뭐야?
매력 있어요, 매력 있어요.
이게 매력이 있어요?
그렇죠.
준비되어 있는 직업은 바로 대표 직업 중 하나라고 볼 수 있는 검사가 준비가 되어 있습니다. 검사의 비무 콤보를 한번 배워보도록 하겠습니다.
검사분들이 대부분 기본 시치기 연장이나 이런 건 다들 가능하세요.
솔직히 그거는 되죠.
이런
이게
건 이제
툭툭툭
기본적으로
누르면
되는데
되니까.
항상 아쉬운 거는
네.
여기서 좀 더 이제 활용연차이라는 스킬로 딜을 한 대 더 때릴 수 있거나 일단은 한번 보여드릴게요.
오케이.
어떤 콤보를 보여주려고 하는지.
네.
이게 이제 제일 기본적인.
기본 콤보.
어우,
네.
깔끔했어요.
네.
실수가 없었죠?
끊어서 보여드릴게요.
네.
돌진, 혈배기, 활용.
네.
이게 1.
여기까지가 이제 돌진 실시기에 의해서 걸린 상태 이상 동안 들어가는
어허.
공격인 거죠.
2초 안에. 그다음에 요거 이제
그
연장해야죠.
다음을 이제 처음부터 다시 보여드리면
네.
쿵짝짝 이후에 쿵짝짝.
이렇게 풍월도까지 이어주면
어허.
이게 기절이 안 풀려요.
네.
그러니까 촐배기 하고 활용점 한 대 때리고 마늘배기 풍월도.
어허.
이렇게 하면 이제 기절이 돌진에 걸려있던 게 연장이 돼가지고
2초가 연장이 되죠.
네 그래가지고 그대로 남아있는 상황이 나오죠.
이쁘셨습니다. 안녕히 계십시오.
We are back to bring you Blade&Soul action once again. We're here at Blade&Soul Korea Season Finals, and we're at the last match of the day. We're gonna see the decider match of Group A with, GC Busan Blue already having won and clinched themselves as top seed of Group A. So they're already waiting in the semifinals. That's gonna be happening next week. But we're gonna look at the IDEPS go up against Full Swing once again.
Yep, and if you guys remember, I mentioned that IDEPS versus Full Swing happened last week.
It already happened.
And IDEPS was able to beat Full Swing and go up, which put them in the position to go up against GC Busan Blue today. We'll see what happens during this revenge match for Full Swing.
And I think the primary question, we already asked a lot of questions about these two teams, so we know enough about them now. But now that we're comparing these two teams a week later after that first defeat, what do you think the primary difference is just by the games that you saw today?
Well, to be honest, IDEPS have definitely improved overall. They've already been good, but their teamwork was kind of lacking. But today it was better than before. Full Swing, they've always been, up to par. They were playing up to par, them being a challenger stage team. However, I think they have to step up a couple more steps in order for them to compete against a champion stage team without any, hardship going through their minds.
Personally, what I've seen from IDEPS today, we only did get one showing from them in this one particular series, but just by that series against GC Busan Blue, once they were playing these tag matches, which I thought was the most significant part of today's matches, was that they were really competitive against GC Busan Blue, who have been known as one of the best tag teams in this tournament. And so being able to do that, even if you're a championship team, is quite an accomplishment. And like you said, the actual scoreline turned out to be a very close one between GC Busan Blue and IDEPS. And IDEPS, kind of lost out in the very last end with that two tags, just barely going against their way. But they are against Full Swing. And just to be honest with these guys, and we just haven't had much to talk about these guys.
Yeah.
They're a team full of, two veterans and one rookie, and these teams trying to make something happen, but they never showed anything significant that is worth talking about after the game.
Yeah, I'm actually very happy that you mentioned that, Joel. the two quote-unquote more experienced players on Full Swing, who are Hyuki An and Byung-tae Che. Yeah, they come out in singles, they come out in tags, and they do perform up to par. They haven't shown us too much of a super play, but Hyuki An did show us that one moment where he grabbed that opponent's back and was able to freeze Iran Jang against the Blade Master. So yeah, they are playing pretty well, but Dongjun Park, who is the rookie on that team, who is the face that we are unfamiliar with, has to play at least up to where Hyuki An and Byung-tae Che are playing, the levels.
And even with the veterans, I think we're talking about the skill level differences between the two sides. And we mentioned Hyuki An as the Force Master when comparing him to Jung Ho-yoon, he's gonna be facing out very soon. The skill gap is definitely there, just between the individual players. And as you mentioned about the improvements that they have to make in the short term, Seo Kim is going to be the first one coming up for this guy. But this is the guy you're talking about, Dongjun Park, on the Blade Dancer. He has to make an immense amount of improvements if he's going to have a stand a chance against Seo Kim, who has been playing a decent, comparing his bad performances that we've seen from him. He's been playing pretty well against GC Busan Blue, so he's going to have to step it up for today.
Yeah, and Seo Kim definitely doesn't want to lose to Dongjun Park, who is the rookie.
Yeah.
And Dongjun Park definitely wanted to try his best to beat Seo Kim, to prove his worth for being on the team Full Swing.
And Seo Kim really has a lot of pride that he has to protect, and he's going to have to do that by winning this match against Full Swing. And it's going to be the first singles coming right your way, so let's get it on. And it is the first game between IDEPS and Full Swing, the first singles. This was Seo Kim on the Assassin against Dongjun Park on the Blade Dance. But as I just mentioned before, Seo Kim, this guy is immensely famous around the Blade&Soul community for his online performances that he's always been able to show. So being able to lose out against a rookie in Dongjun Park would be an utter embarrassment, and he does not really want that.
You don't want that to happen. And like we always say, Seo Kim, he is the online god, but he does choke sometimes in the offline tournaments because he does kind of get nervous. So we'll see if that nervousness will play a part in this first singles of, probably the last match. Well, not the last. Wait, is it the last match?
It's the last match.
Oh yeah,
today.
it is. Yeah, for the second seed. So it is the last match of the day.
It's
so
fine.
yeah, you don't want Seo Kim to choke on the last match, the first set of the last match.
But what I want to continue on with the ending is that Seo Kim, if he has consistency, just that one thing of being consistent all the time, that will make him one of the best players in this tournament easily. But it's just that's the only thing that has been lacking him and really holding him back to become the best. But this might be a chance for Seo Kim to pull off the finishing moves now. Gonna be on to Dongjun Park, who is without that escape. So Dongjun Park, he has to be keeping his distance and trying to negate any of the stun opportunities that Seo Kim's gonna be throwing at him. But actually goes on the offensive end this time, putting him into the area. The second area will likely be coming. The lightning draw does not come this time around. He does get into the Phantom Grip instead. Gonna look for more opportunities to make that lightning draw of a better use of an option. There we go. Yeah, the second actually very good use of it. Gets him into the stun and putting in that damage in that lightning draw. So making probably potentially the best use out of that lightning draw he could have made.
Yeah, and Seo Kim is now out of both escapes, whereas Dongjun Park will get his back in a second.
So yeah, Dongjun Park, even with his escape available, he has to be careful. He has very little HP to work with, so if he gets his tab escape out once again and gets into another stun, it will be an instant KO heading towards Seo Kim. So you have to be very careful with keeping his distance, but trying to be offensive at the same time. So, but Dongjun Park, he has nothing to do with backing out of this competition. He just really wants to go forward and make things happen.
Oh, tab escape actually lands, forces Seo Kim to back roll out, but Dongjun Park unable to chase him.
So it's Dongjun Park without his tab escape available now. Now he has to play extra defensive somehow. The landmine does connect. Whether they get the stun, we have to see. Doesn't get it this time around. So Seo Kim looking for another opportunity. The stun does come out, and this guy making me enough damage to finish him off as the assassin that we know can instantly knock off a low HP opponent, and he does it again. Seo Kim is the winner of this one.
All right, we'll give it to Seo Kim. But Dongjun Park, I've noticed that he was trying his best to try to play it smart, to try to predict what Seo Kim was going to do. But I think that passiveness, it was too passive.
Yeah, I would
It
have
was
to say
too-
yeah.
like, yes, it's Sang-Ho Kim on the assassin, and you're the blade dancers. I understand.
Yeah.
However, if you play it too passive, and Sang-Ho Kim, an assassin player of that caliber, you don't want to give him time to make his moves.
It's true. But another question I want to ask you, Ending, is that you talk about the passiveness that he showed in the early game, which got him into the situation that he was extremely low health. But once he got there, he was actually trying to be overly aggressive at times, and he really went for those opportunities that he didn't have. So my question to you is whether he should have stayed a little bit passive once he got to that low health, or was it the right thing to do once he was down on the low health to go extra aggressive?
Well, like, to be honest, like, exactly what you said. He did go aggressive at moments, and he was passive at certain times, but personally, as watching right now, he went aggressive when he was out of escape.
Exactly,
And that is the wrong move to do against an assassin.
Yeah.
Like, he only had a flock of blades, but that's not going to help you escape from a CC.
But perhaps,
So, like, I don't know. Like, maybe it was... I'm pretty sure he had his own plans planned out in his head, but unfortunately, Sang-Ho Kim was able to beat him, and now we are moving to the second set.
And Duggan Kang on the KFM is going to be coming out for Team Idas against Full Swing. It was going to be Hyukyeon on the Force Master. So Hyukyeon has been the center of attention today. Is performing especially well in his first series that he faced out. So whether he can continue on with that against Duggan Kang, the formidable KFM that he always has been, it's going to be an important one because it's the best of 7 and 1 point has already gone over to Team Idas. So Full Swing has to look for some ways to get any of those points hopefully back into their favor.
Yeah, exactly. And since it is best out of 7, you know, the first loss, I hope they don't take it too critically. They can just get back up and go on to at least, you know, set 3 or 4 to see, you know, if they have a chance and make up for their loss. And let's get ready to get into the second set. Let's get it on.
And we're especially thankful for OGN to getting Duggan Kang's name right this time around. A lot of confusion when the two names appear on the same screen. But it is Duggan Kang on the KFM against Hyukyeon on the Force Master this time around. Hyukyeon is going to be looking for nothing other than a win because one more point back onto their favor would be an extreme amount of a potential confidence boost that really Full Swing is looking for here.
Yeah, forces Duggan Kang to use his tab escape. Freeze himself.
Oh, it actually freezes him. Freezes Duggan
freezes
Kang
Duggan
as
Kang.
well, yeah. But the Frost Burst doing a good job of what it's supposed to do. So Hyukyeon showing up strong in the early game. Actually, the Comfort Master Duggan Kang forced it into the air. Gets him into the Tremor and onto the stun. Putting a little bit of damage, but he's going to look for a lot more than this. He gets the lack of escape, and hopefully this might be the start. This might be the beginning of the series of damage that Duggan Kang is looking for. And still on the ground, putting in a lot of damage. So 50% health immediately out for the side of Hyukyeon.
Yeah, and Duggan Kang gets his escape back. Hyukyeon still 13 seconds left for his tab escape to come back. Gets pulled in Rising Dragon.
But Duggan Kang in a very comfortable position with his escape
seconds.
available. Gets him into another aerial, going to put that immediate amount of damage. As soon as he's down on the ground, gets him into the second aerial, and it's going to be looking to continue on with this. Gets him into the knockdown, and Hyukyeon, he has just no time to react to any of these plays coming up. Gets him into the fan and grip, freezing him up, but that does very little to the side of Duggan Kang.
Buying time.
It's a very disappointing use of freezing himself, trying to get some HP back, but it was essentially not going to get any of his HP back. But Hyukyeon,
tab escape's out.
oh man, now without his tab escape, Hyukyeon is in more of a dangerous situation than he ever was. Gets him into the another area. Everything working out for Duggan Kang with every aerial he's trying to put out. The stun is good enough to get that escape list. Hyukyeon takes out, and that's Idas picking up the second point in the series.
Clean.
So clean.
Duggan Kang almost at full health, or probably at full health.
Yeah.
Maybe took like 1 or 2, you know.
In the early
Yeah, he got
game,
a little bit tickled.
Yeah.
But definitely the KFM was able to outplay Hyukyeon.
And that
Like,
was
I usually don't like saying, you know, too much of the word outplay because it may seem like I'm looking down on the loser. But this game, the KFM definitely outplayed. Hyuki on the Force Master
I
by
mean,
far.
you had
By
every,
far.
yeah, you had every reason
Yeah.
to look down on Hyuki of how well Duggan Kang actually made himself look better. I mean, just like everything he does, every stunt that he lands, every aerial that he lands, it just gets him into another aerial and more damage that we know KFM can, hook up with the amount of CC that it has. So. As you see, Hyuki has no time to react to any of these situations. The best effort he can do is freeze himself, even with no counter damage coming in from Duggan Kang to hopefully heal some of the HP back, but nothing really happens for Hyuki out there.
That was amazing. Oh, look at that. Look at these guys.
Hey, they're ready.
What they're doing is, the KFM's reflect motion. That's what they're doing right now. They're saying it's power reflect when Duggan Kang uses his KFM's reflex.
So good translation from
Yeah.
ending there to explain to us what that Kamehameha looking thing was. So KFM looking very popular with a lot of viewers here, and it's also your favorite class as well. So KFM is, whenever you see such a clean performance like that from a KFM, it's always an exciting thing to watch, something you can always smile about. And that's just another statement being made by IDES that you're just clearly just one step and many steps above full swing, and just from the singles that we see, and we just probably expect that this next tag match coming up will just heavily go towards IDES.
Yeah, that is probably most likely what you just said. But we're always ready for a twist, and I'm waiting for full swing to get back up and swing back at IDES.
And that's what their team name is really modded for, because they have to make some kind of comeback happen, and the biggest one would be to make this upset in this tag match will be the start of that comeback, and Full Swing is going to be really needing this against IDES. We're going to be moving right on to Game 3. It's going to be coming very shortly with IDES in Full Swing. Hopefully one team trying to run away with this and one team trying to get back into the series. So let's get the match underway. Let's get on. I mean, if Full Swing allows another loss here and IDEPS gets another victory in this tag, man, it will be a 4-0. And I can just see IDEPS really running away with this, and we might potentially get a 6-0 sweep from Team IDEPS, because obviously they've been showing in this singles that they were clearly the better team with no challenge coming their way.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, if IDEPS is able to win this tag and make it 4-0, that is when Full Swing will be on tilt.
Tilter's
Like,
edge.
right now, 2-0, it's okay.
Yeah, because they can bring it back to even.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But when it becomes a 4-0, then that is when you really have to hold on to your mentality.
And I think we were looking at Sang Kim. That was going to be the first one out for IDEPS with Full Swing, bringing out Byung-tae Che on the Warlock. So seemingly bringing out their best performing players of today for the first players in this tag match. But Sang Kim, we have to give credits to him. He's been performing pretty well. This is the offline Sang Kim on the good end. So a good part of Sang Kim today. So hopefully we can continue to see him in this good form. But it's not going to be the start of that, because Byung-tae Che gets him into the area on that chain. Does force out to interfere. Coming in from the Force Master, frees himself up to negate any additional damage coming in from there.
Yeah, that was a good defensive interference by Jung Ho-yoon to save Sang Kim from taking any more damage.
While Sang Kim still stays out onto the field, Dongjoon comes in with that attack point being used, but he takes a lot of damage from the assassin already. And the lightning draw coming in and putting in a lot of damage onto the Sang Kim. And Sang Kim is going to be looking very nervous about the situation. He has to somehow stall out for the next 10 seconds, which I think he will, because he has a tab escape available. So 5 more seconds what he can stall out to get a free tag point, which will be very good for Team IDEPS.
Go force tag after
This
this.
close distance. The chase will likely to happen.
Okay.
Oh, freezes himself up. So no real damage coming in against the Team IDEPS side. So Dongjin Park, he probably knew that was coming, but obviously he has to still go for the chase when you have the opportunity.
There was a reactionary 2v2. Nothing crucial happened. Jung Ho-yoon coming out.
All the lightning draws coming in. Dongjin Park putting in some damage, but Jung Ho-yoon also at the same time taking no damage of time distortion coming in from the Warlock. So Jung Ho-yoon is going to get his escape right back. So Full Swing is going to get the escape right back. So Dongjin Park, he has the escape right back on his track. So it'll be a good advantage that he could fight for this, because just right now, everything considered, Full Swing is at a little bit advantage.
Yeah, and look at that Jung Ho-yoon Force Master wallbang.
The Meteor, he just avoided just in time with that tag coming in. And it's going to be Jung Ho-yoon freezing himself once again. Hyukyun on the Force Master is going to be challenging his master. The Meteor is coming up. He frees himself after sending out that Meteor, but Jung Ho-yoon takes the minimalistic part of that damage. So Hyukyun waiting to be melted back onto the play. He uses the Frost Burst to freeze out Jung Ho-yoon.
Yeah.
Mostly for time bind, but what time is there to buy when you have nothing on cooldown? But Hyukyun still makes that work out. So just one step at a time, he's trying to beat out his master, and you know, Jung Ho-yoon, he's being showing no holes to gape into, and just Jung Ho-yoon has to really make a statement because he's trying to take this slowly, but at the same time he has to show who's boss and who is the better Force Master this time around.
Exactly, and 8 more seconds until that Force tag happens. Jung Ho-yoon, either is he gonna keep that distance or go aggressive and try to do as much damage, and it looks like they are face to face right now.
Another close distance might allow that chase, but doesn't happen because he was frozen up. So Hyukyun can't do anything about this, and he actually takes a lot of damage as soon as Sang Kim is coming in. So Sang Kim doing pretty well as soon as he comes into the play. Another stun coming up. The interference is gonna be good enough. He gets the ultimate while he is stunned up, and that's gonna be good enough damage to instantly finish off Hyukyun as the first man down for full swing.
Sang Kim today, he's on a roll with that assassinal.
He was literally, I think he's literally 100% hit rate on that ultimate today. So getting into that stun, putting it in that right time, I just said chain into the shackles, it's gonna be good damage going on to him, but Jung Ho-yoon is back out onto the field. He has no tab escape available, so he has to be a little bit careful in how he is. Team is still ahead, but he has to consider his options where, you know, he has, if he does get knocked out, it's gonna be going very back even towards full swing, so he has to be careful here.
Yeah, Jung Ho-yoon, I'm not worried about him because, you know, he doesn't have a tab escape, so what? He has 2 freezes. He has Frost Burst to freeze his opponent, so, you know, I'm not too worried. Look at that. He gets both of his escapes back now. Nothing to worry about.
And Jung Ho-yoon is looking so comfortable with everything that he does. And if the damage comes from his opponent, he just frees himself to heal that damage right on his track. So the defensive interferer coming in now. The reactionary one, the Blade, the answer actually comes with the lightning draw, trying to put in that damage, but don't get part.
Ooh, double freeze.
Oh.
Wow.
Mission successful on that one, freezing both players. Actually, a lot of damage going to Dumch, but immediately has to tag out. Does it just in time before he is died out, which would have been a crucial death. Second one for a full swing, but good of him to save himself from that situation and gets the attack just in time.
Yeah, if you guys noticed the resources on the board right now, Hyukyun did die with 2, but he's dead, so it's all grayed out.
Yeah.
So basically, on full swing side,
Oh my goodness.
except for 2 interfere points, they're all grayed out. Items, they're all colored.
And you still
That
have
just, you know, you can just tell the difference.
You still have to remind yourself that full swing is in a situation where they have to somehow desperately get these 2 points back to have a chance in this series, but if they lose at this one, which they're likely to do with the lack of resources as you see here, it's going to be IDES really running away 4-0, and hopefully that just leads them into just more momentum, maybe for a clean sweep coming up.
Yeah, and if you noticed, IDEP's having so much resources. If they had full swings resources and were beating them, it's understandable. Yeah. But them having so much resources left over and still beating them, that just shows the skill difference.
Complete domination is when one show Jung Ho-yoon. He's been keeping quiet, but everything he does is right. And, you know, what are you trying to fault him for making any kind of mistake against his opposition? He has made none so far. The ultimate is trying to pull him in. Oh, gets enough, just enough distance to negate that. So again, Kang coming in, trying to put in the area, but nothing coming from Jung Ho-yoon at that instant. So, putting that damage though from that Force Master. There's nothing to do when you're wall banged like that. And Byung-tae Che is trying to put that last minute of counter, but just barely gets him out. But this is a very dangerous situation. The chase is eventually going to come out. Oh, doesn't happen this time around. So Dongkyun Park does come in with that force tag, a free tag point coming in, but no chase coming towards IDES. The lightning draw does happen towards Sang Kim, who's at a very low health now that he has to be a little bit careful for. He does have a tag point to spare, so he chooses to use that. But Sang Kim, regardless of his situation, he's still going aggressively. He's trying to go for the finish. The ultimate is going to come in. The changes his direction, tries to get that, but not much damage coming in. So finally uses that escape. Finally uses that tag coming in from IDES, and Kang is back out onto the field.
All right, it seems like Full Swing is still enduring this 2v3
Somehow,
for a
yeah.
very long time.
Yeah, and without the resources, they almost get that Idas resources almost to even with them.
Yeah.
And this is a very good accomplishment by Full Swing in this mid game. So, you know, Damage Char obviously was going to go towards Idas. So somehow, if Full Swing can get the KO onto 3, remember that would be the crucial thing for these guys. But it just seems very unlikely with the complete domination that, you know, Doug and Kang and the entire squad of Idas is showing still.
Yeah, second win is used by both sides. The both Blade Dancers, they tag out. Force Master Jung Ho-yoon is out. This is going to be a hell for Dongju Park.
I know, if I was a professional Blade&Soul player and I had to see Jung Ho-yoon in front of my face when you're down 2v3, it's just such a cringe and such a nightmare that you don't want to deal with. You don't want to deal with that. And Jung Ho-yoon has to take in some damage. As a Force Master, he's relatively healthy still. The wallbang's trying to happen once again. The damage is partly coming in towards Jung Ho-yoon's side. So Dongju Park keeping his distance because he has to stall out 10 more seconds to tag out onto Byung Tae-choo, who's also on low health. So hope is being lost on every side from Full Swing. So some miracle has to happen. Unless Idas going to run away 4-0.
Guess that chase, Byung Tae-choo is forced to use his tab escape right when he's force tagged in.
Making the matters worse for Full Swing. This is a chance for Jung Ho-yoon to hopefully finish him off. The interfere coming in from both sides, trying to make something happen. The offensive one didn't work. The reaction probably stopped that in its tracks.
All right, everybody's at 0 now.
Yep. And Jung Ho-yoon, the biggest advantage is he has 2 other teammates who has a relatively healthy base that he can go with, but the Warlock actually putting in a lot of damage onto the Force Master. And this might be the start of a brand new beginning for Full Swing. Jung Ho-yoon is at extremely low health that he has to be careful. If he can heal himself back up, that will be a huge statement. But other than that, Full Swing doing everything that they're supposed to do to somehow stay in this game.
Yep, and everybody got a interfere point at the 1 minute mark.
Oh, this is what I was talking about.
Heals up Jung Ho-yoon.
Oh my goodness, I'm sure Jung Ho-yoon and the entire side is not looking for the TKO. They're trying to go for the finish. And if you heal yourself up in that crucial position, it just takes all the wind out of Full Swing.
Yeah, and just now that force tag was an obvious thing, but Byung Tae-choo didn't seem to chase that. So Sang-ho Kim just came in, has all his escapes comfortably.
And Sang-ho Kim, for the next 5 seconds, he's going to have to look for the all-in. If he tries for it, puts on the landmine, nothing happens from it. The interfere does come in from Jung Ho-yoon, tries to make this kill happen. Finally gets his escape back, which he uses have to use immediately. The stun does come up, and it's going to be almost enough to knock him out.
He died!
He died with that, and the TKO will happen. It most likely will go, even we always talk about Force Masters, but it most likely still will go towards IDEPS, most likely.
It has to, because they do have the assassin.
It's just 2 kills onto your opponent. That is always good enough to clinch yourself victory, even if you have millions of healing back onto your HP with the Force Master. Still, IDEPS, there's nothing much to say about these teams. They're clearly better than the opposition that Full Swing has tried to present themselves in. But
this match just proved to me. I mentioned this during the match, so I don't know if you guys heard it well, but Full Swing overall used up their resources way faster compared to IDEPS. So I was saying that if IDEPS were to use all their or most of their resources early game to have the advantage, then I would understand, because they use a lot of their resources to gain the advantage. However, IDEPS didn't even need to use all of their resources to gain the advantage. That just shows how comfortably they were, taking advantage of their opponent Full Swing, even without using tags or interferes.
And the key points that we always look at for Blade&Soul tag matches is, first of all, it's obviously the visible ones with the HP difference and the man difference. That's obviously the visible one, but the invisible one that we always consider is the resources. Because the resources, with the just 1, 2, 3 differences in the team's escapes and the interference, that is such a huge difference, more than it actually seems visibly. So, when you're ahead in resources, and when you're ahead in man, and when you're ahead in HP, you just know you're completely ahead.
You're just completely ahead. There's nothing more to say. If you're ahead in everything, then you're ahead. You're better.
And that's the story we saw with IDEPS. They've been showing us dominance from Game 1 and 2 with the singles, and Game 3 showed another clear dominance from them over Full Swing. So, if I was Full Swing, I'll be pretty distraught at our situation right now and just feeling pretty just experimental with what we were supposed to do next.
This is the moment where Full Swing has to stay calm and gather their thoughts and
I
not
wonder-
get too excited or hastily rush into fights, because there's 2 more sets left. If IDEPS takes both of them for set 4 and 5, which are singles worth 1 point each, then they win.
But I wonder if staying calm is the right answer for these guys, because they're already down so far and the confidence has probably dropped to a minimum by this point. But I don't know, if they play the same way, it's the obvious results are gonna happen. I don't know what kind of difference they have to make, but it has to be some kind of a miraculous one to get these 2 points back, hopefully give them another chance to come back in the series.
Yeah, unless they have some limit break hidden like Final Fantasy characters like
I love
that.
Final Fantasy.
Staying calm is, I think, what they should do, and the music has changed, and we will be getting into set 4. We're back to singles. Let's get it on.
Limit break is what you need.
Yep.
Because right now, that's everything they have to look for. They have to look for things that are available, and they have to look for things that are unavailable to somehow come back in this series. 4-0 is an immense lead for Idols over Full Swing, considering the team difference and their power level. And Full Swing, this singles has to be a immediate win, and just next single has to be a win. And somehow they have to force out 2 tag wins following that.
Yeah, they
That's the only
basically
way.
have to win everything from now on.
And it just seems like it's just the confidence does play such a long way in this best of 7 because it's such a drag-long series.
Yeah,
And you know, when you lose out 4-0 against a seemingly tougher opponent, it just doesn't help your boost of confidence that you really need. That can be another essential part of your somehow carrying into your win in this victorious part of Blade&Soul. But Full Swing, somehow they have to keep their mentality together to pull out a somehow strong performance to win out the game.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think of just any ways that Full Swing can win out this one, but even as a caster, it's really hard to give them a rule on this one.
And I'm glad that you mentioned about this long, long matchup, because it is best out of 7, and like I mentioned before, being 4-0 and starting now, Full Swing, it's gonna show how strong their mental strength is.
Yep.
Or how weak.
Yep.
So we'll have to see. Right now it looks pretty even though. Byung-tae taking some damage.
As soon as you say that, Idols Jungwon-yoon puts out that meteor onto the Familiar and the Warlock as well, so putting in a lot of damage onto his side. So Jungwon-yoon's going to be feeling very good about the situation. He does get chained up, but does escape out of it right away. So actually Byung-tae putting up a fight though, but gets him into the wall, and that's going to be the signature wall bang. Coming in from Jungwon-yoon once again to finish him off, and another point going towards IDEPS. 5-0 in this series between the 2 sides. Potentially the last match coming up.
I think he's feeling the skill difference right now. We just saw Byung-tae, the Warlock, who actually lost from Full Swing just now against Jungwon-yoon, and you saw his face. He didn't even feel bad that he lost. He just understood. Yeah, he was enlightened. He's like, okay, he's just better.
Acknowledgement that you are worse than the other player. It's the worst feeling you can have as a professional player. But you know, even as commentators here standing in this desk and looking at these 2 teams one by one, there's nothing else for us to say. I think that might be the true statement to be made here.
Well, the results are actually proving us right that IDEPS overall are the better team. I actually wanted Full Swing to come back, like I said before, get up and swing back at IDEPS. They are trying. They are definitely trying. It's just not working out the way they want.
And definitely, we don't see Full Swing throwing at any point in this time. They're trying their hardest. They're trying their best to somehow come back into this series. But, we saw IDEPS. We saw them in previous week, and we saw them this week. We saw them play up against GC Busan Blue and have a very competitive series against these guys. So we have to say that IDEPS seemingly improved over this last week of preparation. But if we were still looking at IDEPS from previous week, we didn't see them as this dominative against Full Swing the last time they faced up. So this additional dominance that they're showing now just shows us, just proves to us once again that IDEPS has been making a lot of preparation to better their team.
Exactly, because like we said before, it is the last day. No more second chances. You have to play it out to, to grab that second seed, even if you can't make it to the first seed. And Set 5, Sang-Ho Kim versus Byung-Tae comes out again on the Warlock. Potentially the last match of today.
And the center of attention for IDES with Sang-Ho Kim, he's going to be the one to either finish this off or drag us to another tag match. So, you never know. So, Sang-Ho Kim, he's always been the center of attention. Will he be good? Will he be bad? Will he be the online guy or will he be the offline? I don't want to say that word, but you know, it's just so many occasions that we've seen from this guy go back and forth in his bipolar performances. So, if he can pull out a good Sang-Ho Kim this time around, it should be an easy win.
Yeah, I hope Byung-Tae actually gets this win because I know they have the potential, the team, but you know the music has changed and we will be getting into Set 5. Let's get it on.
Here we go. What could be the potential last match? We usually don't say that in a singles with Game 5. Usually not being the last match ever in this best of 7, but it might be for Sang-Ho Kim if he can finish him off in this last set. And Byung-Tae has to somehow pick up a point to drag them onto this tag match that will eventually happen. But taking the damage early is Byung-Tae with his familiar, and Sang-Ho Kim taking that damage early.
Yeah, Sang-Ho Kim is doing work, but he is out of his Lotus of Escape. He only has his Tab Escape right now. Byung-Tae still has both of his Escape plus the Leech, so we'll see if Byung-Tae will make his move.
Because Byung-Tae definitely has the resources to make something happen, but doesn't really do that with the time distortion coming back from the familiar. So Sang-Ho Kim trying to put that damage early, but he has all the patience in the world because he knows that he just needs one chance. He just needs one opportunity to get that crucial stun. As we know with this assassin can finish off an opponent in an instant. So I think he's feeling pretty comfortable about his situation and feeling very patient about his opportunity to 6-style.
Yep, Byung-Tae is playing. There we go. He summons his familiar, but it's stun and Tab Escapes out. Okay, now is the crucial point.
This is where Sang-Ho Kim can make all the difference in the world. He has 30 seconds to literally finish him off from 100 to 0. He could do that if he gets the right stun in, but this might be a chance for Byung-Tae to somehow find an answer for this. The familiar is seemingly helping out in his escape, but the stun does come up. This might be the beginning of this, and this might be what we're exactly talking about. Gets him into the aerial, onto the webbing, most likely happening in Byung-Tae. 10% health. It might be good enough. Another stun coming in. That is exactly what we've expected from Sang-Ho Kim from that second series of stun, and that is good enough to finish him off.
Yep. I feel very bad for Full Swing because I know two of the players, well not personally, I know how they could perform. Their potential is there. It's just IREPs. It just seems like they prepare much better, much harder for this to take over the second seed.
And it's very, very noticeable, and it's a fair statement to state that they have leveled up in the previous week. No, the items that we saw in the last week, they were up against challenger teams. And they did beat out, but they won. But it wasn't to that performance of this extent of complete dominance against a challenger team. And we even saw Full Swing make an improvement for themselves and do relatively better than they did last week. So to beat a team like that in such dominating fashion, it's really just making a statement of how hard you've been working.
Yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned before, it is actually probably the first time ever in a best out of 7 where it ended at the match 5.
When's the last time we saw that?
We've never seen it yet. Today was the first time. I'm glad that there's first time for everything, and today was the first time where, a series ended in set 5.
And how many times will we get that 6-0 cleanest of clean tied sweep? So we're going to have to see how the results have ended for day 5 for today. GC Busan Blue got the win that we expected from IDEPS, but IDEPS gets it right back against the winners of the losers with Full Swing, not being able to pull out any type of fight in a 6-0 clean sweep.
Yep, and next time or tomorrow, this is the standings for today's outcomes. Tomorrow we will have the same format for Group B, and I am so excited to see some of the players or some of the teams in Group B.
So if you've been sticking with us from the beginning of the broadcast, we will be doing exactly the same thing that we did for Group A. We're going to just do it for Group B. So all the teams that you've been missing out today, you will see them tomorrow. So I'll be excited for that because Group B has a lot of exciting teams that you guys still have a lot of questions for how good they really are. So we'll get some of the answers tomorrow with Coup d'etat, GFAM, GC Busan Red and G Touring, all formidable teams, and with all the potential in the world, we have to see how this actually turns out.
Yep, there we go on screen. We have tomorrow's matchup. It will be 1300 KST, not 1200 like last week. 1300 KST. First match will be best out of 7 like today. Coup d'etat versus GC Busan Red, the 2 champion stage teams. And the second match will be G-Fan versus G Touring, best out of 4. Same format as today, loser versus losers, and then the loser of the winner versus the winner of the losers, blah blah blah. So it will pick 2 more teams from Group B tomorrow to set our in motion for our semifinals next week.
And it's really an exciting thing to say that the first match of tomorrow will be GC Busan Red versus Coup d'etat.
Yeah.
Once they were the best teams in the world, but now they're a second team next to GC Busan Blue. But we're gonna have to see how they face out in tomorrow's match. We will be back in 1300 KS time for the next Blade and Soul action to be coming in. So don't stay anywhere, and we'll be back tomorrow.